Okay, we're back. After doing a restart, oh my god, and all these just pop-ups just keep popping up on my computer. How do I get this to stop doing this when I restart my computer? I don't want to see all these pop-ups. Come on. Okay, so we're back. And we're doing the god damn it. MSI Center. I don't care to see you right now. Okay, we're back. And we're gonna track my live performance on my phone. Let's see, monitor live. Alright. So this is interesting. When I just started, oh my god, pop-ups. When I started this like 10 minutes ago, not even, um, I got like 20 people on like the first freaking second, and now it's been 50 minutes, wait, seconds, and there's no one. Completely silent. Is this the song I'm thinking about? SpongeBob turned into a clown. Ain't nobody ever want to dance with the fool who went and ripped his pants. Those are not the right chords, but it's okay. Welcome in, people. We have one person watching. Hopefully, you've been having a fantastic Friday. I was going to say Friday, but it's a Thursday. Holy moly. It's almost Friday, Brady. We're almost there. Hey, welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. The topic tonight is what's been on your mind lately. We can chat about literally anything. Anything. We can talk about literally anything at all. With the point of coming together and aligning. Hey, user, welcome in. I don't know if you're the same user that has been here in the past, but I see you. I see you and I appreciate the likes. But with the whole idea of aligning and being like, what are we doing on this earth together? And progressing and being better. And I think that's the good thing. Nectarine Lover, you're back. I see you. You might not be here still, but I tried Nectarine, and I think I like Peaches better, unfortunately. Unfortunately, but for me, it's okay. All right. We're getting some people in here. We're getting some people. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. Num num is requesting up. Hello, hello.
Yo,
How's it going?
I just woke up from a fat ass nap.
Nice. How old are you?
25.
25. Yeah, I was just thinking about SpongeBob. Uh, I was singing "Ripped Pants" before you came on, and that's not. Is that a coincidence? I think so. But anyways, fat naps are
No,
nice.
it's called synchronicity, whatever they fucking call it.
Synchronicity, synchronicity.
Yeah.
All right, all right. So yeah, what's been on your mind lately?
Um, I don't know, just the human experience. It's like you're forced to be born, and then you're forced to get old and older, and then you gotta die at one point. So I'm just thinking, like, when am I gonna? How am I gonna live my life before I die?
Right. Yeah. What are some of your thoughts about that? Like, where do you think you want to take your life?
I don't know. I just where do I want to take my life?
Yeah.
Um, That's a great question because I got a lot. Life's been fucking. Uh, yeah, it's been fucking wild.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could say if I could take it anywhere, I just want to keep my health.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
I think the one thing that I would want to take anywhere is that I just want to keep on staying healthy as much as I can.
Definitely.
Because
Definitely.
if I have a healthy body, then I'll have a healthy mind.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. That's a good way to think. Like take
Yeah,
care of like what you need to do to get around and do things and be better. And I think that's a good goal to have, in life as especially as you get older, right? And your body starts wearing down and wearing down. It's like I personally need to start getting that to be a priority in my life is working out because like as you can see, womp, I'm not really doing well
yeah,
right now. I used to be super active in high school. Played sports. Like I I worked out to my detriment, to where I overexerted myself and wasn't replenishing enough nutrients in my body to really gain a lot of muscle. And uh, yeah, it was hard, but it's something I want to get into. But that's a good goal you have to take care of your body.
Yeah, I my so recently, I'm not sure if you heard of peptides or not, but you probably have because you're on TikTok. But my
What
grandma,
are
she broke her, huh?
sorry, heard of what?
Peptides.
Peptides. I've never heard about that.
Peptides. So like, yeah. So it's like, I'll tell you what they did for my grandma. She took these the ones that you have to pin. There's some oral ones, but she took these ones you have to pin because she broke her femur last year. She wasn't able to like the bone healed, but it was all the micro tears and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
or macro inflations and stuff that took years. Like, or it still weren't healing. So
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't really able to do anything for like a year entirely, because of how like the muscles and tendons weren't healing within like. And I was talking about to her this about like 5 months ago. Doctor put her on maybe 3 weeks ago, and now she has full function of her legs again, bro.
Whoa.
Like she's able to walk again. She's now gonna pin it in her back and in her knees, and
Mm-hmm.
now her husband's also got prescribed those same two peptides that she pinned,
Yeah.
um, for his knees as well. So it's like it's pretty wild to see that because I'm like, damn, bro, like the both she was like she was disabled, like honestly, like she couldn't do shit without pain, and now within a week of using these peptides she's like probably the most healthiest 70-year-old, like 75-year-old that you can run into.
That's awesome, man. That's good news to hear about them. That they feel better about using that. What is peptides? Like what is it?
So from my understanding, because there's so many different ones, it's like there's like a code in your body that produces certain results. Like example is like when you work out, your body produces bone density and increased muscle mass. Well, let's take that code that produces that, synthesize it, and then we're gonna reintroduce it into your body so that way it replenishes that code, like keeping the body young without tiring you out. It's like an exchange for testosterone, which is a hormone. Like they don't have hormonal ones, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and instead of like ruining your body, some of them do, some of them don't. It's something that's already in your body. Same thing. Like now, it's nothing compared to tests.
Right. That's awesome. Like did that just
Yeah,
come
it's pretty
out
wild. There's so
recently?
many different ones. Yeah, no, it's been around since the '80s. It's
Oh,
just people have just been starting to catch on. A lot of influence. I don't say a lot of influencers, but a lot of athletes and powerlifters. They've been using these since they've started. Like I bet you Arnold and all those fools were using peptides.
peptides. That's really interesting. I never even heard the word until now. So that's great that you informed me about that, and it's great to hear the results from your family.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but only because I don't need any because there's so many of them, and you've heard of Jope
Oh,
and
you cut
the
out there
other
for a
one. What's it
second.
called? What's it? I said you've heard of you probably heard of Ozempic
Oh yeah, that's the weight
or
loss drug, right?
yeah, that's a peptide. Ozempic's I think it's classified as a peptide.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a peptide. But I was never thinking of taking any of the ones for like losing weight. Like I see that as kind of cheating. Like unless you're like morbidly obese and you're like I want to get this taken care of. But it's like I
Right.
don't see any person needing to take these sort of things for extended period of time if you're healthy. It's
Wasn't
just
it?
like
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
it just doesn't make sense. Yeah, go ahead.
Isn't Ozempic being popular in Hollywood or something like that? There's like famous people are making it
Yeah,
popular now, right?
that's why all these celebrities like Margot Robbie's lost like 50 pounds.
What?
And the thing is yeah, she's lost like these some of these what do you call them, celebrities have lost like 50, 60 pounds and they all look super thin. And that's because of these peptides.
Really?
And there's been cases of people when like passing away or like losing I think bone density from it, but that's because people have no idea what they're doing. They're not tracking their macros. Like they have no idea what they're doing with their body. They just feel like, oh yeah, it just makes you lose weight, but they don't realize that like some people are losing like 30 pounds in a month.
Jeez, that's
Yeah,
like
that's
nearly
how
a
drastic the
thousand.
change is with some of these peptides. Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying like people. That's why some people are like having health problems because they have no idea what they're how they're supposed to take these things. They just take them blindly.
Right. I'm looking
But
at a picture of Margot Robbie right now, and I don't know if this is her recently, but I typed in a recent photo, and like her face looks more like sunken in on the cheeks. Ah, my guitar.
yeah, that's because of the peptides that are there.
Huh.
Yeah, that's because of the peptides that they're.
She's a beautiful
Yeah, but one
actress.
thing one thing that this year is like, yeah, she's beautiful, and unfortunately the beauty standards are being pushed just as far. I don't want to say just as far, but they're being pushed to where it's almost, it reminds me of like the Korean beauty standards where they're having a bunch of surgery, but like some people are getting 10, 15 surgeries done by the time they're like 21. Like it's insane that
Like
all these body modifications people are getting for the beauty standard.
plastic surgery and whatnot.
Yeah, like plastic surgery, they're getting like they're trying to get like bigger eyes and stuff. They're putting like shoulder implants, all these crazy things just for the beauty standard at the time. It's wild.
I noticed a lot of
Like
actors
that,
get that too. Didn't Jim Carrey just get something with his cheeks, and then Bradley Cooper doesn't look like Bradley Cooper anymore. Um, who
yeah,
else? The actress from The Boys, and I mean, there's
yeah.
people that just like it just becomes like a common thing. It's really interesting because like a lot of these people looked good before, and um, I don't understand why, but maybe I'd need to talk to people that have done it, and I don't know, I don't know.
I mean, it's insane to me how much social media has affected people, especially this whole looks maxing thing. And I got to take off, but
Oh
this
yeah.
whole looks maxing thing's been pretty wild because I think it's amazing and wild at the same time because a lot of these kids that are doing these hard maxing or steps where they're like getting surgery done on their face, like double jaw surgery and all these things. I see it as cool because are to how the world treats people when you're extremely good looking, and it's not a crazy thing to say that what they're doing is wrong because society says otherwise. Like I can't think of there's this one serial murderer that did something to a woman, and he was all tatted up,
Mm-hmm.
and the women were going feral for this guy, even though he committed these terrible things.
Does he have
And
tattoos?
he was a good looking dude with tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
Good looking dude with tattoos. I can't think of his name right now. And then there's another example of this. He was a gangster crip. Because that's I think he was from L.A. Really good looking dude. Committed a ton of felonies. Same thing. People find out about him, and now he's like a model. And now he's like a model. Like he never has to work a day in his life again. It's just pretty wild and pretty dystopian how people treat other people when you're above average looking.
Right, right.
So it's pretty amazing to see that some of these kids are taking these things, and self improving. But there's also parts where they're taking like Aqualix or like all these they're not I call them steroids because that's what most of them are
I was gonna
to
ask.
looks
Yeah.
max and do all these things
And when you say
like
looks max, what do you mean by looks max? Am I pronouncing that
looks
right?
max. So yeah, like they're trying to achieve they want to be more than average looking, and they want to do that by kind of like any means.
Right.
Good example is like clavicular, like all the steps he's taking with like bone, he's doing testosterone, but he doesn't work out,
Mm.
which is like doesn't make sense because if you don't do testosterone properly, then you can fry your hormone glands for the rest of your life.
Oh.
Doing all these what do they call them? Shit. Doing all these hard drugs and
Mm-hmm.
that's part of the life he wanted, but just doing all these crazy steps to become more than average looking,
Right.
whatever it takes. Like HGH, like human growth hormone. Like there's a bunch of these kids taking all these crazy human growth hormone steroids that have these crazy side effects. Like it's insane. Like I dove into the waters a little bit, and I see that there's some benefit to it, but there's just there's just too many red flags.
Right.
It's just too it's but again, it just from how it seems like the societal pressure of of being above average and the lifestyle that you live, I can get it, but also I think it's just not going to benefit society at all. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's wild.
you're very informed on
Yeah,
this. I appreciate you like educating me on this topic because like I don't really get into it much, but I understand like Ozempic. I was like, oh yeah, I've seen actors and actresses on that and whatnot. But it's interesting to hear like more about it from you. So I appreciate you just being open to like share about it.
yeah, no, I mean, yeah, there's some practical things, but then also like health wise, there's some practical things to it. But then there's things where it's just like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that, and most people shouldn't either, unless like they're ready for everything that could happen.
Right.
But yeah, no, yeah, I've seen your stream before, bro. So I'll
Well,
probably be in here again sometime.
awesome. Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming up, man. This is great. I haven't been as consistent as I have been the past month, but it's good to get on and talk to people again. And this is my like second time this week, I think. So I appreciate you coming up.
Yeah, man. Have a great rest of your week. All right.
You do. You too, man. Take care.
All right. See ya.
Cool. All right. He was cool to talk to. Cool to talk to. It's always nice, like going on to lives like this and being educated about different things. I think that's a fantastic thing about meeting different people and hearing their stories. We are getting Whiplash 806 up right now. If they are still around, it's loading. It's loading. Should I get my guitar out again? Because I don't know if they're going to be able to join. I can catch up on comments. You really want to know what's on my mind? The fact that 13th Amendment always allowed. Hello, hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good, doing good. So yeah, what's been on your mind lately?
I mean, there's a handful of things I could get into. What's the? I mean, are there limits?
No, we can talk about literally anything. If you just need like vent or rant or talk about life, or if you want to talk philosophically or religion or politics, the whole goal is to come together, align, be like, hey, 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 and then be like, what are we doing on this earth together? And then progressing and being better. You're me. I don't know if you. I can't hear you right now. Hello, hello.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Now I don't know what's going on. Hello, 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 hello.
Okay. Sorry.
You're okay.
Hello.
I can hear
It
you.
says I've got maybe. Okay. So yeah, sorry. I'm trying to get this to connect better. Um. Yeah. So I mean, the first thing I would love to bring up. Uh, I've been thinking pretty hard about some political perspectives that I have, and a little bit of my background. I started in what you would consider, I guess, today a MAGA Republican household,
Yep.
um, or MAGA or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, at the time, it was called a constitutional Republican, but whatever. Um, and I've, developed my opinion over time, and I find myself very center leaning. If you were to put a perspective, or I guess a place on it.
Okay.
So, anyways, one of the things I bring up with that, and I've got some experience in law enforcement, but that's more anecdotal for evidence in a minute. So, I guess the idea is for immigration, namely, that's the easy one for me to get into. I'm in Texas. Immigration, it's a real concern in Texas. Um, but my opinion on it is generally that immigration makes a country stronger overall.
In
Um,
what ways do you think? To elaborate.
yeah, so I think immigration brings in important cultural ideas that um, it, I think a uniform culture or a uniform mentality across the people group does a disservice to that people group's productivity.
Yes, you know it.
Right? Like I think that's just kind of baseline. There's also economic and population ideas that are, you know, that are involved as well. But most importantly, I think, is that a stagnant culture tends to stagnate.
Right.
But that being said, I do think there are real considerations on both sides, right? There's this idea that there should be informed and orderly immigration, and then there's also this idea that we need to have um, some kind of method of bringing in people who are in distress.
Are you driving, by the
There's
way?
there's a lot of.
Sorry.
I am in the parking lot at McDonald's, actually.
Okay, because you can't drive on TikTok Live. That's terms of service. But if you're just parked, that's okay.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
yeah. Nope. I'm in the parking lot.
Okay,
I have a mobile order.
cool.
No, you're good. Nope. Yeah. No,
So
sorry.
you see both sides of things, like with
Anyways.
how people are going about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, anyway, so like policy-wise, I don't really get too much into the politics on the issue as much as I think about the policy and how to make it an effective solution. In my opinion, an effective solution makes it really easy to do the right thing and almost impossible to do the wrong thing.
Like, what do you mean by that?
So a good policy should promote through like just behavioral, I guess, means, or behavioral psychology should promote the idea that you should follow the policy. Right? Not like it's the policy, therefore you should do it. Well, let me just explain it, and maybe it'll become more self-evident.
Right.
Okay, so the immigration policy in my head is a prospective immigrant comes to a border, comes to a designated border checkpoint or point of entry. It doesn't have to be at the border. Like if you're at an airport or whatever, okay, whatever. But you come to a designated point of entry. At that designated point of entry, you declare your intent. Right? Are you seeking citizenship? Are you seeking some kind of like tourist issue? Are you are here on a work visa? Whatever you declare whatever your intention is for your longevity of stay.
Right.
At that point, you get photographed, you get fingerprinted, and you have a buccal DNA swab taken, and your fingerprints are run through a NCIC and Interpol check.
Whoa. Okay.
To make sure that you are not somebody who is like a violent offender trying to come into the country.
I've had that, but like differently. But no, I had my fingerprints taken by police officers. Anyways, that's sorry. I'm just relating, and I don't know how to, if that. I didn't mean to sidetrack it. Anyways, go ahead.
No, you're good. So that process that I described, where you have your fingerprints, photograph, and your criminal history, checked, basically. That process takes about 15 minutes for a trained operator.
Okay.
So one person, once they have gone through this process and they're not, some kind of violent offender trying to come into the country, because there's real concerns about that, right? Like we don't want people who are causing problems to be here if we can avoid them.
Right.
But if you're permitted, then at that point you are given some kind of probationary or prospective citizen status. You are right there. You are given an SSN if that's what if your intent is to be a citizen.
You get
now,
that
if you're
right
here
away.
for like right there.
Whoa, I didn't know about that. Huh.
So that's not the current. That's not what currently happens, right? Clarification. That's not what currently happens. This is something I am idealizing.
Oh, okay, my bad. I didn't understand that. I thought this was currently in place. Okay, so, I see where you're coming from. Okay.
Yeah. No, this is something I'm idealizing in my perspective. And my perspective is based on I've done the criminal histories, fingerprints, and photographs. I understand the information security related to that. I understand the information that's gained about a person related to that, including foreign criminal information.
Okay.
And that said, based on that experience, which is anecdotal and I understand that, but based on that experience, um, yeah, I think that's probably the only qualification I would put on a person to get what I would call prospective citizenship.
Yeah, so like making it easier to get into the country, essentially, right?
Yeah, it would be us almost open door. Like I wouldn't get into they have to be able to take this test or they have to understand the culture. It doesn't matter. The whole point of America, the vision of America when it was created was anyone can come here and do manifest destiny or like can do whatever their freedoms have allowed, right? And so this cultural mixing pot becomes very open, and it makes immigration really easy.
Right. I'm on board with making it easier, like making the process easier, because like it takes like years and years and years just to get like
Yes.
citizenship, and I think that's ridiculous. I think was it back in 2024 was it when they were trying to pass a bill for immigration to like make it stricter like enforcement, but also put more people in place to get more people going through the system. Like that was shut
Yeah,
down by
yeah.
Trump, right? Well, Trump told people to shut it down, if I'm understanding that correctly, and then people in either Congress or the Senate. I'm not really educated with this, but people that had the right to vote on this voted against it. Does that resonate with you, or does that make sense? What I said?
Yes, what you're saying makes sense.
Okay, is that accurate?
I believe so. I like I said, I don't really get too much into the politics about the policy. I think about what the policy is supposed to facilitate, and I try to find a solution that, like I said, promotes an easy way to do the right thing. And the other side of this is, well, I'll get to that here in just a second. Like I said, I'm probably more center leaning than most, but
Right,
certainly not left.
right, right.
So, anyways, my that's the prospective citizenship idea. Maybe there's some kind of tax fee, or that's like an income tax fee that's posted by the federal government against your tax statement
Hmm.
that is deferrable, so that the cost, like the actual physical cost of materials and labor to process your entry, is covered,
Right, that makes sense.
right? Which subsidizes this program,
Yeah.
right? So that makes it easier on the American populace who are not prospective immigrants to not have to necessarily pay for this program, even though it's a net positive either way. But whatever.
Right. I've heard. I don't know if you're gonna get into this soon, but I've heard from another person that came up a couple weeks, 2 or 3 or 4 weeks ago, talk about if we get a bunch of immigrants in the system, that's gonna ruin the economy essentially. And he said like there'd be less stuff, I guess, and too many people. And I didn't understand if that was accurate or not. I couldn't really speak to it. But do you think there would be any impacts on the economy? Because I to my understanding, I thought it would like boom the economy, like with more people, like there would be more people, and then they can work at more places and supply more people with goods and services. What do you think about that?
Yeah, yeah. I think I don't think the person that spoke to you has a good understanding of the economic profile in the United States. People in the United States are generally more productive as far as like economic value than they are consumption or consumptive. And that's across the board, right? Now, that's conglomerate. That doesn't say to any one individual. There are absolutely individuals who are more consumptive, but in general, people in the United States produce more value than they spend.
Produce more value being like as what they have to offer for like work services. Is that what you mean?
Just like in general. So for my example, or myself, I can give. I'm in a consulting firm. I am paid 28 an hour or whatever. My billing rate to a client for the consulting firm is like 130.
Okay.
Right? So there is more economic gain from my work than I am even possibly able to spend from that same work.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
Right. So that's the idea. Across the board, this is generally true. And when you get to people who are at the highest level of business, who are owners, they also tend to spend less than they earn, which is just true across the board.
Hmm.
Very, very few people actually spend more than they earn, and when they do, they get restricted because their credit score takes a hit.
Right.
But,
Right.
anyways, moving on past that.
Right.
Um, as far as the citizenship, right? So somebody comes in, they get some kind of tax assessment on their taxes that is deferrable, so you're not hitting them right out of the gate, right? If they needed to defer it to make payments on it over time, whatever, that's fine. The government is easily able to subsidize that. That's within like the same kind of program of like student loans being deferred interest until after you graduate. Like there's lots of programs that follow a similar path.
Okay.
Um, that being said, the work visa or a short time kind of a thing, you come in, you present your passport, you maybe get an Interpol check and you're in. But if you're looking for prospective citizenship, you are assigned an SSN on the spot. You are issued whatever government document is appropriate for you to go and get whatever other state documents you need. And you are, as of that moment, afforded all rights and privileges of a United States citizen.
I think that's interesting. I see no downside to that, really. Honestly, I think
The
I'm on board for making it easier for immigrants to come into the country. From what I've understood about everything, and I don't know it, like I don't know it 100% well. Well, I can't speak on a lot of different things when it comes to the economy or stuff like that. But it just makes sense to help people if they are seeking a place to live, and because like I think people tend to not understand why people come to different countries, and like maybe their life in the past, like they were, you know, under like isn't like Venezuela like under like a dictatorship or something like that, or different
yeah,
countries are not as kind to their citizens, and it makes sense why people want to seek asylum and get a safe place to raise their like keep their family and raise their family and progress, and I think that's a fantastic thing.
yeah. So I mean, I agree with you there, but I would say there are probably a lot of nuanced reasons. It's not always that the country they are in is oppressive. Some people just want a different set of scenery. Some people want to escape the circumstances they are in as far as it relates to like interpersonal relationships. It depends, you know.
Right.
But that's there is a real concern with being so permissive. I tend to address that on the back end. That the because I've said like this prospective citizenship. There is some kind of caution involved. It's not just here you are, you have citizenship.
Hmm.
You're afforded all rights and privileges of a citizen, with the caveat that it is revocable for some kind of violent felony offense.
Yes.
Right? Conviction, not just an allegation. Right? If you were convicted of some violent felony offense, then yeah, your prospective citizenship should probably be reviewed because I don't think you're here doing what you should be doing if you're being violently assaultive or something against a person.
Right.
And
Yeah, I
so
get that.
there's there's this idea that hey, you're afforded these rights and privileges, don't screw up, right? And call it in some time in like 3, 5, 10 years, whatever the number is. It's not super relevant because somebody should generally be on their best behavior. Not best, but they should generally not be a violent felon person.
Right. I think
So
that's understandable. Like if you're gonna get people to come into the country, you're gonna make sure like they're gonna be like behave and like not do crimes, of
yeah,
course, right? I would say like when it comes to this kind of changing the topic, but we can get back to what we're talking about. But when it comes to people within the United States right now, like our US citizens that have committed crimes, like it could be any kind of crime, from something just like not super harmful to something where it becomes like major, like whatever it is. I think we should do a better job at rehabilitating people in the prison system so they can become more productive and be better citizens in the future after getting like spending their time in jail, right?
Yeah, so I mentioned my background. I have 7 years in law enforcement in corrections as like a facility manager.
Nice, awesome.
I'm very, very familiar with the rehabilitation process and prospective outcomes.
I'm curious to hear more
Um,
about that.
yeah, I can absolutely shed some light on that. Do you mind if I finish up the? So there is this. I've been very what you would say probably pro left on this first front end of it. Um, the the other end of my um, policy ideation may be less tasteful, but I agree that there needs to be some kind of control method.
Okay.
My solution to that would be to deploy the National Guard in a continuous training operation, so to speak, across land borders, um, to act as a interception, interdiction, and kind of policing force for illegal border crossings.
Okay. And like, what would be, like, how do people typically get into, or like, how would they illegally get into, or like, how would they illegally get into the country? Like, if they like just cross the fence or something like that, or I'm not too
Yeah, so like
familiar.
actual physical crossing. So currently most are like asylum seekers that overstay or visa owners that overstay, whatever. With this idea that you can declare your intention to become a citizen at the border checkpoint, that should decrease because hey, look, it's super easy. All you have to do is say, hey, this is what I want to do,
Right.
right? Like that's it. That's all you got to do. Um, But on the other end, that would indicate to me, if it's so easy to do the right thing, that anybody who's trying to go around that system has bad intentions.
Hmm. Mm-hmm. Hmm.
That being said, deploying the National Guard in this policing procedure gives the National Guard members training with drone operations, with intercepting and acting as a defensive force, which is what the National Guard is designed to do anyway.
Okay.
Um, and they're already being paid, so might as well pay them to go be somewhere that they are, a deterrent to illegal action.
Yeah, I was gonna ask like, how are they gonna get paid? But if they're already paid, might as well do something, right? But like, what if they weren't doing anything? What would they be doing?
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's exactly my point. Is like they're already paid, might as well pay them to do a job
Are
other
they
than
just not doing
just
anything?
train.
Are they? Oh, they're just training.
They
Okay.
do, yeah. So they do training, maintenance, operation. Like it's a readiness kind of a thing.
I see.
But I think that those funds are probably more aptly used in solving some process anyway.
Right. And if they like, they can probably train and also enforce at the same time, right?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And
Interesting.
so
Okay.
the interception policy would be very close to what you would find in a like law enforcement use of force policy, where hey, the idea is deterrence. If they don't acknowledge the presence of force for deterrence, give them some kind of verbalization of deterrence, like hey, you can't come through here. If they try to persist, I mean, at some point you have to, as a state, at some point, if you have a policing force, you have to authorize the use of force to enforce civility on people who refuse to be civil.
Yeah. I think that's an
That
interesting
must,
idea. Go ahead. Sorry.
right? Like that, and in my opinion, that must extend to the personal defense of an individual who is acting in that enforcement capacity,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I am okay with very specific circumstances allowing for lethal force being used in an enforcement capacity. I don't think that is carte blanche to shoot people as an enforcement officer, but I do believe that there is legitimate reason to include that as a forced option for very specific exigent circumstances.
Yeah, no, I see where you're coming from with that. I think it makes sense. Like if your idea about like getting people into the checkpoints and like we can give them a social security number and then like send them on their way, making it more simple or easier to process it into the United States, I think makes sense. And also if it's so easy, then of course the people that try to go around it probably are not well intentioned, maybe, but perhaps. And I can get on board with that idea that you're proposing. How would we go about, like, has anyone in the government like proposed this idea or tried to get this going, or is it just like something you
Uh,
came up with?
this is something I came up with. I can't say that anyone, like I said, I have not been in the politics about it really at all. I kind of moved away from politics just because of how polarizing it's become.
Right, right,
Um, and so I try, instead of to think about, oh, well, who's going to vote for this, I think about, hey, what's a working solution? And then we'll explain why it's a working solution, and hopefully people vote for it if they have, rational consciousness.
right. I think it's interesting because like the more we talk about this stuff, the more we can make it into like consciousness. You said, or like people's awareness and like what this means, right? Because this is my first time hearing this kind of proposal, and I think it makes sense. And I just wonder like what would be the process of like getting this to someone who can like take it and roll with it, right? Like where's this going?
Right. I mean, I'd love that, but
Right.
that's and I'm happy to have reasonable debate against it. Even I'm happy to if somebody can make a convincing argument for uh, caveats to the idea, then yeah, absolutely, let's integrate those in the policy. Let's make a sensible policy though.
Right, right. I think well that's the interesting thing about like different ideas. Like, because I don't know much about this idea, but like what you are proposing makes sense to I don't have much knowledge to like say anything different about it, but it makes sense to me, so I wouldn't go against it. But I think it's interesting having different ideas, but in a civilized way where it's more curious rather than argumentative. And I think that's where the best productive conversations stem from, right?
Yeah,
So I'm not too much into debates, but if people wanted to debate, I'd entertain it. Like if it gets into like religion, I get a bit more debatey, but I don't try to do it to win. I just pose the question to get people to be curious, but to critically think about their own positions, because I think that's something we ought to do as humans. And I think it's one of those things too where I think people just want to be right so bad, and it makes sense to do that. But I think we ought to like normalize saying I don't know. It's okay not to know sometimes, and I and that's why like me coming up on live and like not knowing much about stuff, but just being able to be curious, I think is important to showcase, right? Because there's so many. You're out of the app, by the way. There's so many debates and there's so
Oh,
many arguments. You're out of the app again, which is fine. It can be educational. It could be entertaining, but I think leaning in with curiosity to different viewpoints, I think goes further than someone shutting someone down because they know better. And maybe that's true, but like I think curiosity wins in these situations.
yeah. Um, I mean, yeah, that's it, and maybe it makes more sense now. The consideration I was saying, where you make it really easy to do the right thing, and basically impossible to do the incorrect thing. Maybe that makes more sense with the context of the policy ideas explained.
Can you say that again one more time?
Yeah, you want to make it really easy for somebody to do the thing that you want them to do. You want to make it
Mm,
easy.
mm-hmm.
And you want to make it hard to do the thing that you don't want them to do.
Right.
And in my opinion, this kind of policy really highlights that, where, yeah, it's super easy to go about immigration the correct way, and really kind of difficult to circumvent the system.
Yeah. I'm gonna hold on to that idea that you had, and I'm gonna spread the news if anyone talks about
Yeah,
immigration, because I think that's where it starts. Like someone says it, and then we keep saying it, we keep saying it to the point where it becomes normalized, right? It's like we with change or with anything, like it starts small, like right. It's like me and you and 10 or 8 people are listening in. Fantastic! This is amazing. Appreciate you guys listening to us talk about this, right? But it starts small and it gets bigger, gets bigger, gets bigger, and I'm optimistic about the future with if we're just like vulnerable with our voices and we're like open to hearing other ideas. Like I think it's just like exponential growth or like it's a ripple effect, and I really do believe that. And it just starts small, and we'll have to be patient for now. But I think this is where it starts, is having these vulnerable conversations about important topics.
Yeah, well, thank you, Brady. I really appreciate that. If you've got maybe a couple more minutes for me, I
Oh yeah,
will quickly go through that experience in corrections, and then I've got to go for a meeting that I'm supposed to be at 8
for sure.
my time is central. But,
Yeah,
anyways, so yeah, as far as rehabilitation and recidivism, in my experience, we had statistics on the issue, and we had recidivism rates of about 35%.
when you talk about
Um,
recidivism, is that like putting inmates back into civilization? Is that what that means, or
no,
what's?
so recidivism is the rate of a return of an inmate.
Oh, if they're gonna come, if it's like likely they're
Yeah,
gonna
the
come back.
number of times, yeah, the percentage of inmates that we had more than once.
Okay,
Now, that being said, ours was about 35%. Different places vary. Um, but the issue is that 65% that doesn't come back, you don't have to worry about them. They figured it out. Jail was the deterrent.
right.
The 35% that come back, jail is not a significant enough deterrent in the face of whatever their current circumstances are to not commit a crime.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so if that's they are impoverished, they are uneducated. That's there's lots of things. There, if they are dealing with substance abuse, if they are coupling any of those conditions, that becomes a whole nother issue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But there's lots of reasons for recidivism. It's really complex to treat or to try and beat. Thankfully, the 3+ recidivism rate is only like 20%. So there's another outreach of about 15% of the people that come to jail twice and don't come back. And after that, it kind of stagnates at that 20%, which is really, that's not 20% of the population.
Right.
That's 20% of the people who come to jail first.
Like for a second time, or just for the first time?
So the 20% is people who go to jail 3 times.
Oh, 3 times. Okay. Okay.
Right? And it's at that point, the recidivism rate doesn't drop enough for 4 or 5 for it to be a meaningful statistic.
Mm-hmm.
Sadly. But for it, and like I said, there's a lot of reasons. I mean, I've had somebody say they just wanted to. I've had somebody tell me and these are anecdotal experiences, but
Right.
this is what I have.
Right.
I've had somebody look me in the face and tell me they wanted to be the prison gang boss in max security prison, and that was their life goal,
Hmm.
which is why they committed murder twice.
Jeez.
Right. Like, so there are people who are rationalizing behaviors in ways that no regular person would ever rationalize, right?
Right.
Like, no regular person is thinking, oh, yeah, I want to go be a gang boss in prison. Like, that's not a rational person's behavior.
Right.
And so it's really hard to reach that extra 20%. Um, and that's just kind of what it is. I think that 20% is unfortunately applicable across gender and race. We didn't have any significant demographic change.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we did have a strong correlation about poverty based on people who are given court-appointed attorneys or hired their own. So there's a really strong case of poverty being correlated to recidivism.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a more complex issue than something that you would deal with in a corrections environment.
Right. Are these inmates given, like, is there like a therapist that they can see, or like is it required, or like any sort of like social support where they can like talk through things and understand
Yeah.
themselves better? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in at least my environment, we were offering counseling services You could book time with a counselor if they had time, and most of these things were either cheap or free.
Mm-hmm.
You could get educated, like trade educated. You could get medical care. You could get action plans for after you left the jail. You had like a method of checking in with somebody as like a uh, what do you call them? Not a reliability person, but like a somebody who makes sure that you're following along with what you're supposed to be doing.
Like being accountable.
I'm sorry. Yes, an accountability person. Yes,
Okay. Okay.
that's exactly what it is. Sorry.
Yeah.
You're right. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
But yeah,
That's
so
good.
like there's lots of methods that are offered, but those methods did not make a statistical difference in
Oh.
recidivism, unfortunately.
Whoa.
Right. So
Okay.
like those differences don't really affect it really comes down to the in the moment perspective of the person who is going to do something illegal. Most of the time it is, oh well, I'm going to get high because I want to, so because I want to get high I'm going to go get drugs. Well, now I have drugs, and so now if it's methamphetamine or whatever, like
Right.
they've now committed some crime, and then they end up back in jail.
Right. Right.
Especially with fentanyl, right? Like people end up
I think
zoned out on
we have to be
fentanyl, like they
careful with.
become.
Let's be careful about what like saying the actual stuff
Oh,
because I think
sorry.
TikTok doesn't like that. But that's okay. That's okay. For now, we're okay.
Uh, okay. Well, with the F drug,
Yep.
that one has some really severe physical effects on the body, and so, uh, anyways,
Right.
that's
I think I think that's fantastic. We have those services because like I wasn't aware like to the extent like how much stuff we have for people in prison, right? And I think it's good we're trying at least. But it's interesting like the statistics hasn't changed if they have like a social worker or a counselor to talk to. I find that interesting that that didn't change. Um, yeah.
yeah. Well, anyways, I've got to go. Thank you for having me up.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you talking, man. Have a good rest of your night.
You too. All
All right. Bye bye.
right, bye. Bye.
Cool. Awesome. Another good guy to talk to. He was very informal with information uh, that I learned about a lot of different things, and I think it's really interesting just to hear him out. We'll go to the next person. We have three people. Holy moly. We'll try to get to you guys. Doycelin is up next. We'll see where this goes. All right. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us. There's 8 people here. Holy moly. Hello, hello. How you doing?
Oh shit, it's my first time, being live or I guess as a
Oh,
guest.
all right. Well, welcome in. Welcome in.
Hi. So, well, I ain't gonna lie to you, I just got off of work, so just on time. Just got off at 6. I'm like, I was doom scrolling because I wanted to, spend some time and, waste the time, the last 10, 20 minutes, just to be able to mess around or whatever, and came across your stream and I'm like, oh, this is an interesting topic. So we could just go up and talk?
Literally about
That's cool.
anything. Yeah, yeah. So what's been on your mind lately?
Well, I don't know, really. Well, how do I put it? I'll say a lot because it's been a lot, but it's kind of, how do I put it? A little bit of everything all at once. I mean, I'm at that age of growth, of course. I'm young. I have yet to experience adulthood properly, at least, to my knowledge. I turned 22 this year. I'm gonna be 23 pretty soon. And my age is starting to sound pretty serious. I mean, it just feels like yesterday I was a teenager, 19 years old, fresh out of high school. But it's kind of hitting me like I have free will. I mean, I'm an adult. I could go to the liquor, buy a drink if I want to. I could go to a dispensary, buy drugs if I want to. I could go get a second job. I mean, well, at this point, a third job, because I already have 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I could go do whatever I want, really. And this freedom is kind of empowering, but also a little bit frightening.
In what ways?
Frightening because, well, I'm gonna have to be responsible for my own actions. For example, I have to be responsible for the fact that if I call out of work because I'm lazy or whatever, I mean, that's on me. Like, no one's gonna care.
Right.
I mean, no one's gonna come and save me if I end up broke or in credit card debt. And that's just something that's been on my mind because, well, I mean, I think I'm doing all right, but
Right.
of course, people might criticize my lack of funds or criticize my choices in life. I mean, the fact that every so often, I don't smoke weed because I'm addicted. In fact, I smoke once, maybe a month or every 2 months because
Mm-hmm.
it's right there and I don't have that urge to just use it.
Yeah.
But people might criticize that, you know?
Well, they can criticize whatever the fuck they want, right? Like that, you're right.
Yeah,
We're all on our own journeys, right? And we can decide what we want to be, which I think is it's really like beautiful thing too, right? Just knowing that you can be whatever it is, and I'm curious to know like what that is for you. Like, what would you like to do with your life?
oh, for sure, be someone. I want to be someone in life, either respected as an individual, either have someone people look up to, but I want essentially what I want is to be secure myself
Mm,
so that I can do that. But I'm at the point in life where I'm not secure because I have free will, yes, but I don't have power, so to speak, because in this capitalist society we live in, you need money to function. I can't go just and let's just say go travel to another state because I don't have the gas money, you know? I don't have a place to stay. Well, I could probably sleep in my car, but I need power at the moment, you know? That's what I'm really lacking.
right, right.
But honestly, I'm just ranting about random things. But
No,
I'm
you're
sorry, you were
good.
saying something?
No, you're okay. This is what part of the life is for, right? We can talk about politics, religion, whatever the frick it can be. But if you just need a rant and if you just need a vent, like I'm all ears. I'm no therapist. I'm no therapist, but like I
Yeah,
do I do enjoy listening to people, and I think sometimes people just need to feel seen and heard, right? And your voice
of
matters,
course.
and I appreciate you just being open talking about this.
I know, and the fact that you're treating me as a person now, I mean, that's it's honestly quite refreshing, because, well, I'm sure, it's in my name and all, but, recently out, trans, that's a whole thing. I I don't really see it as a problem anymore, but I went through a really rough stage of internalized homophobia, and I had to accept that and learn to be okay with it, and, that's another thing that's been on my mind.
What's that mean? Internalized homophobia. What's that mean?
All right. Do you know how this is gonna sound like a crazy example, but you know how it's apparently a meme where at every Republican convention, Grinder goes offline.
Hmm.
It's a stereotype. I don't know if I think it's true. I don't know, but it's a meme at this point because they have internalized homophobia, which is what they show. They hate gay people. They hate trans people. They hate lesbians. Anything that has to do with homosexuality.
Right.
But deep down, they have it in them. In fact, they're doing it hidden. I mean, did you know that the one of the most watched porn genres are in red states trans porn, and that really is telling. And I suffered unfortunately from that. I went through a little, what's it called, red pill arc, so to speak.
Hmm.
I have a quick question. Mind if
Yeah.
I turn on my camera?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Is that allowed?
Yeah. I think if you have the option, I'll invite you to turn on the camera.
Hey, I can see myself.
I can't see you.
I don't know why. Wait a minute.
It's still your profile picture. But
Oh,
hello. Hi. How
hi.
you doing?
So far so good, I think.
Look
What
at
is
you.
this
Look at
filter?
you.
What the heck? So yeah, I just got off of work, so
So
ignore the
like
attack.
you're going through internalized homophobia. Like you're like within yourself. Like explain how that felt like for you, or the thoughts that are going through your mind as you're experiencing that.
Yeah. So deep down, I was raised in a household where homophobia is looked down upon.
Hmm.
I was raised in a traditional Latino household. My mom was Catholic and like hardcore Catholic. She's from Central America,
Hmm.
which you can't really tell because of my face. I'm pretty pale right now, but I work in an office all day. But
Sorry, active, but I'm not, and I fixed it. We're good.
No, yeah, you're cool. But essentially, it was wrong for me to do things inside the house. It was wrong for me to basically. The idea of having a gay son is like the worst possible thing that a Catholic mom could have.
Yeah.
And it's not because they hate gay people specifically, but because it's just taught that it's a sin, because the religion has to do with it. It's what they were taught. Hate isn't, it's not internalized, it's taught, so to speak, you know?
Yes. Yes.
And my internalized homophobia was based off of that because I hated myself because I was insecure about my body back then. I was shorter than other kids. I had a nasally voice. I had a late puberty,
Hmm.
so that's interesting. Um, I was insecure about myself and overcompensating as a man. You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
I I was doing that because I wasn't afraid to be called weak, effeminate, gay, and all that stuff, you know? And I won't lie to you, I don't really care about that stuff now because I'm like, your opinion, well, not yours specifically, but like people's opinions, I'm not gonna get hurt.
Right. Right.
But that's where that internalized homophobia was because I had shame doing stuff. Like painting nails isn't gay,
Hmm.
wearing a dress isn't gay.
Hmm.
If wearing a dress makes you gay, like I ain't gonna lie to you, the dress ain't the problem. Like you got that stuff inside you since whenever, but that's the internalized homophobia part on me, you know? I didn't want to wear anything like that because I was like, oh shit, that's no. I had fragile masculinity, you know, speak.
Hmm.
And this girl that I'm dating right now, she, you know, we've been dating for 2 years. Look at that.
Oh,
She,
whoa,
fiance and all that. That's
dude.
cool.
Or did I say dude? I don't know. Sorry, I'd say dude to everyone, but that's
It's all
amazing.
good. It's all good. I don't care about that. I mean, it's all good. But yeah, she gave me a little promise ring, so that's really cool.
Aw, that's like, I'm happy for you guys. That's amazing. That's great.
And she taught me how to be comfortable with myself. She taught me how to be show empathy because I ain't gonna lie to you, I was a real asshole back then. I was the type of person that friends go to for like life advice and stuff, but I was just what's it called? All I would do would just be roasting them, not in a mean way, like oh you have funny shoes or stuff, but like no, like bro, you are living with your dad at your age, 23 years old. All you do is smoke weed. All you do is do this and that. You're trying to take a girl out on a date when you can't even buy yourself a. You can't even take yourself out on a date. You know what I mean? Like I was the type of person that did that thing. Like be a fucking man. You know. And now I'm just well by the name. You know, I'm fucking trans. I guess. I don't know. Um, and that's been on my mind recently because I mean I don't look very I mean I'm boy moding right now. That's what they call it apparently.
Hmm.
I'm new to this all, so I've been taking hormones for a while now, and whenever I do get dressed up, it just I won't lie to you. I mean I even look a little myself. You know I feel myself so to speak. You know how you feel yourself like damn I got a good fit like shit I look fucking
Oh yeah,
handsome or I look fucking pretty. You know
that's great.
sometimes
That's
I feel
great.
that way. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so great. First of all, I think that's fantastic with your girlfriend, being
Mm.
supportive and being that person in your life to like help you understand what not to be anymore. I think
Yeah.
people just come into our life sometimes and really just like not wake us up, but it's just like they affect us in a deep way, and they can impact the trajectory of like how we progress in the future. And I think that's fantastic that you met her, and that's cool that you guys have a promise ring and are going into that. So that's great news to hear. But I think it's also important that you're sharing your story for one, because like other people might be able to resonate with it. But like your voice matters, like what you're saying matters, and it's good that you don't like take into consideration too much about like what other people think about you now. Like you're living your life, you're being who you are, and who you are is a great person. And I appreciate you just for being vocal and open and talking about all this.
Oh, well, yeah, appreciate you as well. I mean, for having me. I was wondering if I could just talk about one more thing
Oh,
because
you can
I'm
talk
probably
about
gonna
what?
get out.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Do you have a? I know you got a line, so I'm gonna take my
No,
time here.
you're good. You're good.
Okay, so last thing I wanted to talk about was essentially me growing comfortable with my identity, so to speak. Like I ain't gonna lie to you, I still get a little, shy at times, but I don't mind trying things once.
Mhm.
And what I noticed about, and I learned this about myself as well, because my girl, she is open about things. I mean, she said, like, I don't give a fuck if you're gay. If you're gay, go date other men. I mean, why are you wasting my time and shit? I'm like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm okay. No need to be like blunt, but no, I'm not like that. In fact, I never had that attraction,
Mhm.
even after hormones and stuff. Like, yeah, it's crazy. I guess hormones don't make you automatically gay or straight or
Well, it's
whatever
not.
you are.
It's not like a choice. It's like how you are, right? Like how your brain operates
Yeah, yeah.
is how a person identifies sexually, right? Is that how that plays into effect?
I guess. I
I don't
mean,
know. I don't know the science.
no. I mean, there's not really any science to it. I mean, I know for a fact my preferences in women has changed. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, I look at my girl in a different way now. But
Hmm.
overall, I'm still not attracted to men and all, which is crazy. I mean, I thought like, oh, I'd have to fight the urge because, hormones, whatever,
Hmm.
HRT does its thing. But
Hmm.
no, it's surprisingly cool. But I'm able to basically get more comfortable with my identity because I have a safe space at home.
Good.
I sometimes go to little LGBT events. Um, and what I like about that is that people, they don't judge. They don't care, actually. And that's something I've realized because I went out in public for the first time ever all dolled up. I call it all dolled up, but just makeup and then a little dress or all glammed up, whatever, heels. Like a year ago, me would have never done that. I'm like, what the fuck? That's some gay shit. The fuck? Because I was
No, no,
insecure.
no.
I was homophobic.
Right.
But I ended up, just being like, hey, dress ain't gonna make you gay. Makes you gay, the dress ain't the problem. And that really resonated in my head when I first heard it. I don't know where I heard it from, but it's
Right.
true.
Right.
And yeah, I still, I mean, I don't know if I could share pictures here, but on my account, I've posted a few, reels and stuff, and I just think I look nice, and I can't wait for a year from now when I start presenting more femme full time, and it took hard, like, long time to get where I am right now.
Hmm.
And the best part about it is that I own my own business, so I don't have to worry about getting fired for being trans.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's amazing.
Um,
That's great. You feel like confident in who you are as a person. Like and it seems like it's still developing. Like we all will, right? Like
yeah.
we're all on our journeys, right? But like hearing your story, I think is great, and I appreciate you sharing it all.
All right. Yeah, definitely. Well, I'm gonna let you do your thing as well, and thank you so much for having me. And I hope you have amazing, beautiful, wonderful, great rest of your day. Then.
You too, man. No, woman. Sorry, I get it
No,
wrong.
it's fine. I don't give. Like, look at me right now. I look like a straight out dude. And
Okay.
and I ain't voice training it, so you're
See
cool.
that's one thing I need to get. It's like
Yeah.
I just yeah. Anyways, have a good night.
Take care.
Oh man, leave it up to me to make it so awkward at the end. God damn it, Brady. It's okay. Don't be hard on yourself, Brady. Okay, okay, I won't. And you guys are getting a glimpse at my inner thoughts. We got 4 people. Shadow, I see you. I see you. Appreciate you coming in. We'll get to you soon. There's a couple people ahead of you. We're gonna go in order, and we'll get to you soon. Um, but I appreciate. There's 11 people. What? This is amazing. Hello, hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
It's good to hear. Good to hear.
I, I've just been thinking a lot about the ocean
Ooh.
and how the Earth is made up of what, like 60 to 70% water,
Mm-hmm.
and to think about the fact that we have only explored 5 to 10% of that water.
Right? It's like so alien to us. Well, like fish are so
No.
alien.
And I I just find it so mind-boggling too, just how much we have not discovered in the ocean yet, simply because we haven't like looked.
Right. Right. It's like, how do you feel about that? Like, do you find it like frightening? Do you find it awesome? Do you what? How do you view it?
Well, in a way, kind of. Also, in a way, not.
Mhm.
Like, I I know that there are probably things that we should probably be deathly afraid of. I know there's probably things that, would be so incredibly, like, fascinating and interesting to find, too. It's more like the unknown of it, really, that's more kind of unsettling than anything. I think that's partially why I have thalassophobia.
What's that?
Thalassophobia is the fear of large, open bodies of water.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna
And
be like the fear of
it's
philosophy.
not,
I don't know. That's dumb. Dumb joke, Brady.
no, thalassophobia. And
Philas. Okay.
I, thalassophobia. But it's not necessarily the water itself I'm afraid of, because I can swim, like I'm fine.
Right. Right. Right.
It's what's in the water, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And not knowing what's underneath me, especially if it's deep and like dark, like in the depths to where you can't see what's in it
Right.
either.
It's like a
So,
murky lake. You can barely see your own foot.
or if it's so deep in the ocean that the sun can't reach it,
Right.
just
Isn't that interesting?
completely dark.
And there's like critters and living things just like existing that we just don't have nowhere like any.
I
Well,
know. It's like
it's have you seen that? Like you probably have like the Finding Nemo thing, like the big jaws and the light thing. Like it has a
that.
little.
It's. I believe those are called anglerfish or
Yeah,
football fish,
I think you're right with
depending
that.
on where you are in the world.
Let's look that up. Let's look that up. Angler fish. Anglerfish. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, those guys are ugly. Sorry, guys, but it's just well, it's beautiful. You guys are beautiful in your own way, anglerfish. Okay, the light, the light that shines. You guys got a light. That little light of yours is gonna shine. Anyway, sorry. What am I
But
saying?
it's just so interesting that the deeper you go, the weirder creatures become. It's interesting.
Do you have a favorite weird fish in the deep depths of the ocean?
Um, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that the anglerfish, I believe, is one of those type of creatures. Um, because it's so dark down there, it's so deep that the sun can't hit it, so they use the little lanterns on their head to see down there.
Like, how did that
And
evolve? Right. But anyway, sorry.
they also use it to lure prey as well.
Right. Right.
Light to lure prey. And but I think those type of fish have a male and a female version, and the male, it's interesting. The male is a little type of parasite looking type of fish that when they mate, it attaches onto the body of the female anglerfish, because the bigger anglerfish are the females, I think, and
Okay.
it attaches itself onto the body of the female, and that's how they mate. But and it's interesting to have something that's so completely different, and they're like teeny. These things are like, the males are like teeny tiny,
Really.
so it's almost like this small protrusion off of the female anglerfish, and it's interesting.
I'm gonna look these guys up. Oh wait, I'm seeing an arrow pointed down here.
I I think it might be that fish. I may be
Yeah,
wrong
you're right.
though.
Anglerfish physically fuse to their mates, and we finally. That's a video, but let me see if I can. So they physically fuse. The male is literally. If I can get this on YouTube, you can't really see that good there. Um, the male. Okay, so the female is like this big, and the male is like this big, and they don't look anything like the females. They look kind of cute.
No, it's interesting.
it's like it's like if you guys can see these guys, look up male anglerfish, and you kind of see the inside of this guy I'm looking at right now, and he looks just his face. He's just like, what is life? What is
Yeah,
going on?
and it's
And then
it's
the
kind of
female's like,
like
"Rah!"
how love.
The females are
It's
like very
kind of like
scary.
how love bugs fuse together, kind of
Let's look at
when
that.
they mate.
The bugs. Oh, I well the first thing that comes is two to them butted up against each other. So those are love bugs, Brady.
We
Sorry.
we have the we have those everywhere here in Louisiana.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I've ever seen these guys before, or maybe I have. Well, they kind of remind me of fireflies in a way, with like the pattern on their back. That's
Yeah,
red.
you
It's red
see
instead
them
of.
main. Yeah, you mainly see them during the day,
Mm,
but you can also see you also know when they're not mated because there's only going to be a single one, but you'll see both of them stuck together flying around like that.
they fly around like that.
And they fly around like that. Yeah.
What? This is great. This is like I've learned so much from like the past three people I've been on here, and like they come with just different facts about things. And this is like the cool thing about coming up on live is hearing different things that people say. But it's really interesting. They just fly together, fused.
Yeah,
Oh
but
man.
that's why they're called love bugs because that's the a distinctive thing about them. When they mate, they stay together and stick together.
Like how long? Like
So
forever? Like they're forever binded to, in
yeah,
this way?
they're forever bonded until they die.
That's like poetry in bugs.
I know. It's interesting.
Wouldn't that be interesting if that's how we were too? Like we just like, okay, we're going to do this once, and it's going to be the end of it, and we just fuse. Why, Brady?
I
Why do we
know.
go here? Okay, I'm sorry, guys. Today's a silly day. I feel silly right now, but love bugs are cool. I've learned about love bugs.
We all have those days. I know I have those days when I have word vomits and and brain farts and stuff like that.
Word vomits and brain farts. All right. I think I think it's good to well, like I'm getting better at just being Brady, and I'm not always like this um animated all the time. Like sometimes I don't feel good, and that's okay to not feel good sometimes. But I've been getting better at regulating my emotions more. And what I do is like I externalize my thoughts. I have different characters I talk to, whatever that might be. Like a good friend, for instance, I talk to them in my head. And like if I say a negative thought, I'm like, no, Brady, no, and I reframe that into like a better way of thinking. And I've been doing this for the past like what almost year, and like a year ago from now, I would not be on TikTok live doing this. Like, no way, Jose. Like, socially awkward. Yes, I'm still awkward, but like anxious and like I've been on quite the journey to be where I'm at today, and there's a lot of people to thank for that. But yeah, I'm still in progress, and it's interesting to hear what I say next because I don't know where I'm playing to next because this is starting to become what do you say word vomit.
Where
Uh,
who keeps spamming this
we get Jesus Christ in
call?
here. Jesus Christ. I talk to Jesus Christ. I don't subscribe to Christianity, but the idea of Jesus is true, and I think we should hold on to that. So, sure, Jesus Christ
I
loves you and
know.
died for your sins, so you should have a chance to inherit eternal life. By the way, cool, Leo. Whoever believes that Jesus died on the cross for their sins will be saved. God loves you. Oh, we have Jesus Christ in the chat. All right, hello, Jesus. Anyways, um, I don't know if you're like religious at all, or like, are you spiritual, or are you agnostic, or atheist, or what do you think you are?
I'm Christian, actually.
Nice. Okay. What denomination?
Baptist.
Explain Baptist to me, like I've never heard it.
Baptist. Um, so I go to a church that is independent fundamental Baptist, and what basically that means is we we try to follow what the Bible says, not what the preacher says.
Hmm.
So, in other words, the preacher is an authority, but he is not the ultimate authority. We believe that the Bible is God's word, and God tells us what he wants us to do through the Bible.
Hmm.
And I just think that that should be the way it is. I mean, no one person should be the full authority in a place like that. It should
Hmm.
ultimate in Christianity, it ultimately should be God,
Hmm.
and that's how it always should be for me, anyway.
Yeah.
But
Is Baptist the one where they let their like Latin out and like just like go for it, like screaming out gibberish, or is it someone else?
no, I believe that is more charismatic, more like Pentecostal charismatic kind of. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I thought it was like
Off
a
top.
B word, like a B denomination. But maybe I'm just making shit up. Probably. Um,
Yeah, but I believe that's more like Pentecostal. But yeah, like Pentecostal charismatic like
right. I
stuff.
think there could be some benefit in just like letting your voice just like right. It gets something
Yeah,
out, and
yeah.
I think doing that together like is might be a cathartic thing, perhaps. Maybe you take away an experience, you get the shivers, and you're like, holy cow, we're all just connected. I can understand
In
there's good things from that
in
maybe.
some instances, yeah, I think so, but not like all the time
Right. Like
because
every single Sunday you go to church just to babble out. It's like, John, how's it going? Blah, 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 blah. Good to see you, John.
I I
Sorry.
think
What am I doing?
part of a cathartic thing about the church is worshiping through song as
Mm,
well,
mm-hmm,
because music has been that there have been many studies proven that music is very healing and
mm-hmm,
cathartic in
mm-hmm.
and of itself.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that appeal to that. That's one thing I've always liked about church when I did go to church in the past was the music. That's like one thing that got me into playing piano. Actually, was I would hear a song from church, go on the piano, and be like, "Deet, deet, 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 deet," and play some songs. So,
Yeah,
um, so as a kid, that got me into music, and I can appreciate church for the music aspect, and I think it does like bring people together too with um,
yeah,
singing and song and understanding what the words mean that they're saying and rejoicing and being glad.
yeah. And I think they did a lot of studies on the healing properties of music. They what they would do is they would they also did a study on the importance of words too. They did a study on how music in like a dying plant. They put music into a room with a dying plant and they played it. And they put music in a room with a regular plant. And then they left a regular plant in a room without music. And they found that the ones that had music, that the music was actually helping to heal the plant.
Yeah, that's
And
interesting.
And the regular plant that had the music was actually growing fuller, looking lusher, looking more vibrant, and all that stuff as well. And another experiment they did with plants is the power of words. They actually did an experiment where one person took care of a plant and they would constantly say to the plant, I love you, I love you, I love you,
Oh,
I love you, 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 I love you. And then they did an experiment with another person with the plant where they did, I hate you, 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 I hate you. And they found that the one that kept saying, I love you, that plant was thriving.
hmm.
And the other one was not doing good at all.
That's interesting. Have you ever heard of the idea of consciousness? There's different theories out there, but one of them is panpsychism, which essentially is everything to ever be has a varying level degree of consciousness. Like there's like proto consciousness, which essentially is saying like it's like not saying an atom is like a thinking agent. It's like it has some sort of subjective experience. But the problem with this is like when does a bunch of this stuff just come together to be conscious, right? And that's like a problem that like people are trying to figure out for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. But with this idea, it can make you like more empathetic in a sense to just everything to ever exist, to the point where like your example about talking to plants. Like what if we believed in them and like said good
Well,
words and talk
they
with them like
are.
friends and what would that look like? Even if panpsychism gets proven to be false, like it makes you think about the world in a different lens. I can appreciate that aspect about
No,
it.
it is interesting, and to be fair, a lot of those things are real living organisms. Like they just are different than we are, and they don't have the sentience that we have. But plants are life, just like animals are life, and just like we are life. They just exist in different ways than we do, and in
Mm-hmm.
different sentience than humans do.
Sentience, is that what you mean? It's like sentience, like different.
Yeah,
Um,
sentience.
yeah, it's like what does it mean to be a tree? That's like such an alien thought. But like I imagine, like okay, if we can take our like senses away, like our sight, our hearing, our taste, smell, touch, what does that mean? If you're are you so conscious? Then of course, but like what's it mean to like be that way? But like imagine if like memory gets taken away, like you don't remember like the last second that just happened. Like what are you at that point? Like are you like how can we even test that that person is conscious in the first place? And it makes you wonder like trees, what
I know.
are they
It it
doing?
it is interesting to think about. It's
It's like
interesting.
it's beyond my brain to because like all we know is hallucinating this world essentially. um but there's a lot of different interesting ideas with consciousness that are going around there, and I'm becoming more and more fascinated with different theories. And one of the people I listen to a lot is Alex O'Connor on YouTube, and he's a fantastic philosopher. He gets into religion, he gets into philosophy, and he has understanding of science to a degree to be able to talk about it with smart people. And he has people on his interview. He interviews people, and they talk about different forms of consciousness. And um, I think it's just fascinating trying to understand what the fuck that is, right? Like we can like what does someone mean by that? But there's so many different theories out there, and I find it just more interesting to look into, and trying to understand it more as I go about it.
Another interesting to think about consciousness and existence. You were talking earlier about how we came to existence, and people say, we want to believe in the Big Bang, we believe in God. And one interesting, fascinating thing that people don't think about when they think about God is they say, well, something had to have created God. God's just always existed. That doesn't make sense. And I'm like, yeah, it doesn't. That's why he's God. If he lived within time, space, and matter, he would be a limited God.
Hmm.
He is not a limited God. He was the one who created time, space, and matter. He lives outside of it. So to try to comprehend that as a mortal person within time, space, and matter is mind-boggling. And that's how big God is. And that's why he was able to create everything. And at some point, you're just going to have to accept the fact if you believe in a divine creator, whether you want to, whether Allah, whatever you want to believe in, you've got to accept the fact that this is a God that is all powerful and always has been and always will be and exists outside of everything, even stuff we cannot comprehend yet, which is
Right.
so interesting to think about.
Yeah, there's some atheists that like pose the question out there, like the well, we don't really know where it started, right? Like no one knows really fully, truly, like how everything began to be. But some atheists have the idea that the universe just always existed, like it just has always existed, and that's a possibility. And I can get under, I can get on board with that, either with a creator or not a creator. But to explain to you, I'm agnostic, but I lean spiritually for reasons I could get into, and I practice it in my own way, and I have my own story. And but I think it's important to be agnostic, to take in different ideas and ideologies and beliefs, to like be like, hey, that's a good idea, or no, we should definitely not do that, and like build upon a story that we can universally tell together as a human species. And I think we can build upon these ancient ideas, and like this is why I say I don't subscribe to Christianity, but I believe the idea of Jesus is true, because that's a very good idea, and we should run with that and try to strive to be like a man that we might be able to, but like not all like fully like obviously not fully, but like it's someone to strive to be, and I think it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, it is. And it's fascinating the people that don't understand the difference sometimes between agnostics and atheists. And the difference is agnostics are open to the idea of a creator.
It's
Whether
basically saying I don't know.
no
Like
matter
it's basically just being honest,
I
and
know.
and that's
Oh,
kind of where I go back to where I'm at spiritually, creating the story in my head. Like I don't know if it's true, but we can use these abstract ideas, and we can abstract ideas, and that's a great thing, right? And we can use it to get to a destination together, or as an individual, whatever it might be, right? And I think it's we can use God as a tool, lack of a better word, to like to progress and like tell a story, because like we are storytelling creatures, right? Like from since we've ever been able
yeah.
to be conscious, like we were telling stories. I think if we can like tell a story that's convincing enough, that is generalized in such a way where it can be universal to people with different beliefs to get on board.
Imagination. Yep.
Well, yeah, it's such a powerful thing, right? And I think it can be done. And I think the more we talk about it, the more vulnerable we are with our minds. I think we will come to understand we're more similar than we think. But like we're all unique and beautiful in our own different ways, which is fantastic. And we should hold that diversity very, very, very. Like we should be diverse, right? But we should also be open-minded. We should also be curious and understanding. And I think if we put those into our foundation about who we are as people, we can flourish and thrive. And I truly believe that.
Yep. Well, anyway, I don't want to hold up the line any further,
Oh,
but
you're okay. I appreciate you coming
it
up.
was truly fun. It was truly fun talking with you. I
Yes,
enjoyed it.
you
Thanks
too.
for
I
having me.
I appreciate you so much. Have a good rest of your night.
You too.
Awesome. I need to pee, but we're gonna hold it, guys, because damn it, people are in their cast box, and we can hold. We can hold. We're gonna get this guy up here. Hello, hello.
Yo, how's it going?
It's going good. How you doing?
Good, good. Yeah, so I had a couple things to say about consciousness.
Okay.
Very interesting topic. So understanding consciousness helps a lot understanding the subconsciousness versus conscious versus the subconscious. And so it's very interesting how it works. It has a lot to do with. Am I echoing? Can you hear that?
No, you're good.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So it has a lot to do with basic left and right brain function. Won't go into a whole lot of that. I'm not an actual psychologist or anything like that, but the connections are very simple and easy to understand. Basically, the conscious feeds the subconscious, and the subconscious creates from that. Um, the subconscious basically creates who we are from that. It creates everything, and so basically. One way to understand it is that children are primarily subconscious. Their parents are basically their conscious. They're planting all the thoughts in their head that they're going to create with and what they're going to turn into. And that's a very interesting concept, especially with basically with how we create who we are and what we are, and as well another important point to mention is basically how other people can plant that in our heads. Other people absolutely can and will become our conscious, and they plant it in our heads.
It's interesting.
Who and what we are. Yeah.
It's interesting because I think that does play into effect as children growing up, like what your parents say, like you do pick up on it, and I'll get to a story about that. But I think this is why it's important to be agnostic to literally everything you can possibly be agnostic to understand for yourself what's important
Oh
and
yeah.
what's not. Because like we get people being like, yeah, nah, 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 and you get like figures up there that like say things and they're like, you should believe this, and then I'll just blindly take it in. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna believe it, and I'll just repeat this bullshit. But whatever. I think we should be like, why do you think this? Why or how did you come to this idea? And figure it out on your own, like how a person might have gotten to that conclusion. And I think that's the more critical thing you can, like critically thinking thing you can do to get to that destination together with people. Like you shouldn't just take what I say as factual. You should not you, but like anyone. It's just like you have to understand what that means for yourself fully to really run with it. And this is why I am very careful about what I say about politics because I'm not very informed, but I tend to be more curious about different perspectives. But it's interesting when you said about like parents feeding like the kids consciousness, essentially, because my dad, he would like badmouth different families, and like I would really run with that as a kid. And I remember going to school one day, just out of the blue, called this kid in my class a slur behind his back, and and it just felt right. I was like, you know what, this guy's this, and the people in my class were like, "What are you, Brady? What the fuck?" And this is like in fourth grade, right? And and uh, and then they ended up telling the kid, and I just felt deep shame, which is good. But like, I was like, why did I even do this in the first place, right? To the point where I'm like, don't listen to dad, don't listen to dad, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
kind of messed
Absolutely.
up
You
with
know.
with how I thought, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I deal with that all the time nowadays. Looking into what belief systems I have and where they were actually planted from. Is that something that I actually want to carry with me? And more importantly, is it doing me any good? And the unfortunate truth is that a lot of them are not. I came from a troubled family, so it's just how it goes. But yeah, one thing that I really liked about your live here is how you're having people having intelligent conversations of all different kinds. You know, it's you weren't on here encouraging controversy, and I'll have next time I come on, I'll have a little better things to say. I got a little bit of stage fright there for a second,
Oh, dude, no, you're doing fantastic.
um,
You're doing great.
thank you. It's I found a lot of interesting how would I put it? I don't want to say truths, connections in Gnosticism, especially after having a basic biblical understanding most of my life. Especially how the Matrix portrays Gnosticism. That was one thing that, like you're talking about, keeping an open mind. Keeping an open mind to what we were raised with. The biblical narrative and Gnosticism, especially the Matrix. It portrays a very very interesting um, uh, perspective of that, especially some of the videos I've been watching recently, I never picked up as a kid how there really isn't any actual lines between good and evil. Not really, with the whole yeah, it's very fascinating, and it's and especially with enough study of psychology and philosophy, you start to see that a lot more too, especially how psychology directly relates to the biblical narrative, and especially us taking knowledge of good and evil, which when it comes down to it, there's from a perspective of basic psychology, taking good and evil was an evolutionary trait. It was a progressive evolutionary trait, no matter what the nature of the world was, whether some religions claimed that the Garden of Eden was like a spirit world. Maybe it was a world like in The Giver. The Giver is a perfect example of a basic environment of people without basic knowledge of good and evil. Maybe it was like that, and maybe we progress past the point of no longer being able to live without knowledge of good and evil, kind of like my dog does. She doesn't really have knowledge of good and evil. She mostly does my will for the most part. She's a free spirit.
Yeah,
um,
no, I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. It's interesting because I think we tend to see the world in like a duality, like there's good and evil, which is fine, but like I think we have to see the whole picture, and that it's there's how do I phrase this in the right way, Brady? Um, Knowing that we're capable of evil is a good thing. Like really introspectively looking inwards, being evil. What do I mean by evil? Look, it's being knowing that you can do harm to yourself and other people in ways that's unique to you. I think everyone has their own path of thinking about this if they're courageous enough. And I think for me too, I'm still progressing and developing what that means. And I still make mistakes, of course. I'm not a perfect person, but I don't claim to know everything either. But I remain curious to these ideas. But I think we shouldn't view humans as evil. I think that's unproductive. We can say bad or wrong, but I think evil holds a bigger weight that just deeply resonates with people in ways that I think is harmful to the person that claims another one is that. And I can get into stories about it, but I think we ought to kind of, well, for me, but we all do this. We all have internal dialogues, right? And some people claim they don't have it, but I think people still have some sort of something in their head. And it's like, where do these voices come from in the first place, right? And how do people act out in ways where they didn't intend to, but they realize they made a mistake later? And I think it's identifying. No, no, Trump. Trump? Yes. Wait, what? Anyways, but like it's like identifying a voice and being like, okay, so this voice is telling me that I should take chewing tobacco, for instance. It's like, and Brady, I'm chewing tobacco. I'm your friend. I'm like, well, why do you want to be my friend? Because everyone's your friend, Brady. I'm like, yeah, you're right, but like, look, I don't want chew in my mouth, dude. It's like my gums are receding. I like my teeth. I like my smile, and I want to grow a friend. Damn it. So I'm gonna don't talk anymore. You're not controlling me, right? It's like how we externalize these like characters in our minds. I think we can reach a better understanding of like how we operate and how we should fine tune our brains to stop making the same mistakes ever again. I think the more we vocalize this, the more we bring awareness and consciousness to how we think and these different voices, perhaps we can progress further. And this is my first time demonstrating my pointer finger to you guys on live, because I think anyone can subjectively resonate with that in their own way, and I think it's important to act out, right? Even though if I look like an idiot, right?
yeah. Yeah, man, there was one point that you had that really stuck with me. Not labeling people as evil, anything like that. What really stuck out to me there was and this is I'll leave you with this fact here, very interesting, controversial fact. So there's actually no such thing, technically no such thing as a psychopath. It's not a medical term used anywhere whatsoever. It's not a term any judge ever used for diagnosis. Any it's not ever used. It's quite literally a term just coined by the media.
Mm-hmm.
And very interesting because really it's really just personality disorders, but of course that's a whole nother topic.
Mhm.
The idea of a psychopath and labeling these crazy killers as psychopaths is a way for us to separate ourselves from them. But when the unfortunate truth is that we all come from the same source. Whatever that source was, we come from the same source.
Right.
It's there's all kinds of very interesting theories of where that comes from, where we come from. But
I think you're on something there. I think those people probably feel deeply misunderstood to be acting in such a way that's not in line
mhm.
with other people. I think we ought to do better at understanding people. But I think we all are a product of our luck in biology and our luck in our environment, and that shapes who we are as
Oh
adults.
yeah.
And I really really think with all sorts of people, we should deeply try to understand how people are now, so we don't repeat those people like same unfavorable sociopaths or psychopaths, right? To not exist again. And I think this has to play with like how we talk to ourselves, how we learn about ourselves, and how we interact, but also our family, right? Like I can go back and there's three people in my family that have done me wrong for different reasons, but like I don't hate them, I don't have bitterness towards them, but instead like I empathize with them because like this person's been hurt by someone, and this person's been hurt by someone, and this person's been hurt by someone, and it's just like it
Hmm.
just keeps
Yep.
going. Like I think it's universal at this point that every single person to ever exist has been hurt by another person. I bet that's probably factual. And I think if we do a better job at understanding why a person acts in such a way, we can treat them like a human. No one's is above or below. We all walk the same roads, blah 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 blah. But we ought to see people as humans and understand them in such a way where they can be like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna paint a picture. I don't know what I'm
Okay.
talking about, but like you know what I'm getting at,
Uh,
right?
yeah, you had a very good point there. It's funny because that's exactly the same conclusion that I had to come to with my own upbringing and the trouble that I had, and then all the stories that my dad told me, and seeing the mental health issues he had.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely had it way worse than I did. And then, my grandma painted her childhood as decent, but I could see past that. She went through some pretty bad abuse of some of the worst kind.
Mm-hmm.
But and then who knows what her parents were put through. When it comes down to where does the blame stop?
Right.
It's there are it's I think there's a lot of issues that both of the sides of the coin are definitely true, and this is definitely one of them. One of the sides of the coin is that I have I do have full responsibility for myself. The other side of the coin is that um, there was an entire childhood of just complete subconscious that everyone around me was planting all these things in my head, that I'm not good enough, that I'm inferior, that I'm the least favorite in the family, all this stuff. So, they do have responsibility there as well. Both sides of the coin are true. But of course, for our own individual self, it is good to focus on ourselves for our own individual well being.
Right, and you're articulating this in a very good way, and I appreciate you just for being vulnerable about your past and like who you are today. Because I think I can resonate with like my dad planting in ideas that I'm not good enough. Like I can't vacuum the right way. I can't wash dishes the right way. What do you want from me? Right?
Yep.
And I spill water on the floor and you
Yep.
yell at me. What the fuck? But like in my head, like that his voice becomes my voice to the point where I don't even know which voice is the right voice anymore. And I'm sad now, and I'm I don't have good confidence, and I'm low self esteem, and I just am negative on myself. Where does this come from? And it's been you wouldn't be seeing like this same kind of Brady a year ago. I was still, well, a year and a half ago probably. I was still very negative and hard on myself. Like I thought I was a boring person, and you know my dad took that away from me, right? And I could just there was spurts in my life where like I was able to just be kind of, and then it just like tapers off, and I can be, and then it just goes away. But there is two women that came in my life last year, very important people, and they believed in me. I believed in them, and it was a beautiful thing where like I am who I am today, because of those people, but also for so many other people in my life that when I was like sad and depressed and negative, like I remember a lot of really important people in my life just believed in me, and they 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 showed it in their own ways, and I'm really appreciative for like all the good people in my life, but also the bad people too. Because if it, and the bad things and whatever happened, like I don't wish my life upon anyone, but I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for my past. And I'm very grateful for where I'm at today and being able to just articulate my story in such a way to you right now. So it's very odd, but also very beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Yeah, next time I come on, we'll talk a little bit more about some psychology stuff.
I'd love to.
I'll talk more about the Stanford prison experiment. Um,
Oh,
yeah, there's great, tremendous amount of great understanding in the Stanford prison experiment, and as well, you can also use it to help to learn how to basically profile details of human past. A lot of people don't realize that, but it's I don't even like to call it psychology because it's all stuff right in front of our faces.
mm-hmm.
Basic basic facts of human behavior we could use to basically profile basic facts of human past.
Right.
Very interesting stuff. So yeah, I'd
Yeah,
love to talk about that more on here
I'd love
next
to hear
time. I
from you.
appreciate you having me on, man.
Yeah, you take care, man. I appreciate you coming up.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. Cool. Well, we got 8 people. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. This has been a fantastic Thursday stream, and we'll get to Mr. or Mrs. Um, DJB. You're up. You're up next. Hello, hello.
Hey,
How's it going?
hey, I'm doing pretty good.
Good, 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 good. Yeah, so you've been up. I think you've been in here for a while. Sorry, took you so long to get in, but what's been on your mind lately?
Oh no, that's all right. I like listening to other people's stories, and I also like that there's somebody else on here that's not just trying to get people to pit against each other, because that's all I've seen on lives. But yeah,
Right.
no, yeah, it's all about religion or beliefs or something. But I don't know. I've been thinking about how a lot of people are different in their own special ways, but also how being special can be a bad thing, because I know some people that they can do things that no other people cannot, which is a good thing. But there are some people that I know that they're good. The things that they're good at are not very good for them, and I think it's just all about perspective and like how you see it, because you're not the one in their shoes.
Right. Like, what would be, if you don't mind sharing an example, like, what would be something that that they're productive in, but like it's unproductive for themselves?
I know like a lot of people in my family, they they drink a lot, but
Oh,
they make it more of a competition, and they can handle their alcohol, but they drink way too much, and it's horrible. And
yeah.
that's like one of my cousins. He's not an alcoholic, but he anytime he gets to drink, he'll go for it, and he goes all out, and he goes way too far. And that's how it's bad. But for him, he sees it as just a fun time. But for everybody else, it's scary, because if it gets too bad, he could like get seriously hurt.
Right, right.
Which again is how perspective comes in. But um, and lately, I've just been having to go back and forth with my family about religion, because I am agnostic, and uh, in the state that I live in, most people are Christian, and so the thing that they've been trying to do is convert me back into Christianity. So it's hard. It's hard for me because they aren't accepting of it, and they're trying to just switch me back over.
Yeah, to go back about the drinking and the alcohol, like that can be tough to experience from another person if it becomes scary for one. But like I think the core problem would, or the root of it might be like why are they doing that in the first place? Like what's, like, is it doing just for a good time, or are they trying to like feel something different, or like I think that's a question, like, only they can answer. But I think seeing it is one thing, but like if it takes the individual to want to change, right? if it becomes such a problem. I used to be a pretty bad, not borderline alcoholic, back in 2021. Like I went through a bottle of liquor, like a case of beer, and a bottle of wine, like within a week, to the point where um, I like on a Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock, I'm still in bed feeling like shit. I'm like, I can't keep doing this, right? And I had to make the decision to stop, but it wasn't easy, of course. But it's hard to see that from family members, I'm sure, and trying to get them to not be as dangerous with it, right? It's like how do you navigate that? It's like a question that I guess each person has their own journey to experience, but um, yeah,
Yeah, it is. It's like every person has their own journey that they're going on, and like a lot of people in my family don't talk about how they're feeling because that's how they were raised. So they have a habit of just doing things, and to everyone else, it seems like it's for no reason, but it's just because they haven't told you. And I think I think with a lot of people in my family, it's like all about trust. And if you don't have trust in somebody, then you don't have a lot of anything,
right,
which is kind of negative because every single thing about family is based on trust.
right.
And instead of like connection, it's all based on trust.
Are you building a house? Sounds like you're building something.
Sorry, no, I'm in a tree and I'm bored, so I'm hammering nails into it.
Oh, nice. Okay, I just wanted to check what was going on with the noise, but you're good. Um, but also to go back to what you were saying about your family trying to get you back into Christianity, like, how do you feel about that? Being agnostic, like, what's going on in your mind with that?
Well, I have a suspicion that from a young age, it influenced me to be more Christian because they would take me to church on Sunday and they would just push it really hard, and then that kind of backfired later on because it made let the concept of religion made way less sense than it did when I was younger, and so I'm still trying to have an open mind about. I'm still trying to have an open mind about what could be in the afterlife or like how people should act. And like I know just because there's so many different religions that no one knows which one's right, and having to and when my family is pushing that, it's contradicting what I'm trying to do, and it's just difficult because they don't understand.
Right, like how are they pushing it? If you don't mind me asking.
More of so I stopped going to church, and for a while they were forcing me to go to church with them because I was still living with them, and
Mm,
they would force me to go to church with them, and then now it's just kind of every time religion gets brought up, they just are always um, talking about how I'm gonna go to hell because I don't believe, and trying to guilt trip me into
whoa.
becoming a Christian again.
Yeah, I am sorry for one that that's happening. Because like that's just like lack of understanding in a sense, and I think being agnostic is probably like one of the smartest things to do when you're first starting off with anything, right? But like
Yeah,
when it comes to religion, being saying I don't know is a perfectly normal, understandable, like saying I don't know is okay. I think we ought to normalize saying I don't know instead of trying to be so right? And like when it comes to me, I'm agnostic, but I lean spiritually, and I practice it in my
yeah,
own ways to the point where like I don't know if it's true, but like I'm practicing it as if it is, and it's like a bounce back and forth. But like I can't project my beliefs onto you unless you wanted to hear about them, right? But it's like
yeah.
personal to me, and I just like for every single person, I think it could or should be personal to the individual, like for them to figure out on their own, right? Without someone trying to tell them what is right and what's wrong. And I think, like I said, being agnostic, I think, is okay, right? Um, yeah.
And like something else, kind of similar to this, little bit before, probably about half an hour before I got on this live stream, I kept getting a bunch of live streams for people that were Christian and were debating people that were atheist or agnostic or whatever. And I was talking to this one guy, and he was preaching Christianity, and like, and he just was rude, and like, he was rude. He cut me off. He never let me explain, and I was like, and I was trying to be calm with him, and uh, after a minute, I realized I'm like, there are a lot of people in religions that I wouldn't say are fake, but they don't practice the aspect of being kind to people and like being equally kind to the people that deserve it. And like for me, another like something that I kind of see as good from being agnostic is that I don't have to have a set of rules from a religion to abide by. I have a set of morals that are my own. And like a lot of people are, whenever I tell them that, they're like, oh, you just don't want to follow the rules. Yes and no. I don't mind. I wouldn't have minded following the rules, but it just doesn't sit right with me whenever I have to follow rules with people, because rules can be changed and people start to change. And if I have my own set of rules for myself to be a nice person, to be better, to be patient with people, and just to make myself a better person, I think that's way better than forcing myself to be nice to people, be patient because of my religion. I
Right.
think it should be a part of my person instead of a religion.
Yeah, and this is important. So like you're finding these things out on your own, like what works best for you, what doesn't, and you're seeing
Yeah.
that, and you're testing that. Like I can see you being like introspective and like reflective. Like I'm sure you think about things a lot, and then you go out into the world and you test it out, and like if this is productive, we'll keep it, and if it's not, we won't. Or if this thought is not good, we'll throw it out. Whatever it is, right? So I think that's an important thing
Yeah.
to do, because like it gets to the point where like we are like being implanted different ideas into our minds and put them into our foundation without knowing why that's important in the first place, right? Like don't murder, sure, that's like obvious, right? But like there's other ideas out there that it's just like it's not as apparent, and I think we can figure out what works and what doesn't, and we already do this by like having talks and like talks like this, like what do you think is wrong, what do you think is
Yeah.
right, and we can get to a solution. Like we might not always agree on like abortion, for instance, is more of a tricky complicated subject. But I think the more that people are aware of different ideas on both sides, I think it's important to be able to articulate your view, but also like the opposing view. Like being able to articulate the opposing view means you understand what someone's saying, and you're trying to see the bigger picture in the whole. And I think if people understand whatever side it is and they can articulate it, they can articulate their response even better to be even more convincing, I think. So I believe like what you're doing and what I do too is understanding why it's important for me and going out and showing it.
Yeah. And like it, it's very easy for me, at least, to it's very easy for me to understand myself. And also, since I've started to lean more into being agnostic, I am discovering more things about myself because my life isn't based around a God. I base my life around myself and the ways I should treat people. And that is also is just depends on the kind of person that you are. Because I'm not the greatest person, but I'm not a very horrible person either. And I've had a few friends that are not very good people, and they're not nice. They're not respectful at all. And I have a feeling that if they were to do that and put their life under their own rules, they would have different rules than me. And that is one of the things that I think Christians and other people that like like hate on agnostics, they are afraid of the people that are going to follow a bad set of rules. And that's another conversation that I've had with some of my friends, is that when we have a discussion about where religion started, the thing I always say is I have a feeling religion started because at some point in time people were just killing each other because they figured out nothing mattered, and they created a religion to start and keep people more in line, keep people being kind, keep people from doing bad things. And like that's not even just for Christianity, that's for like Buddhism and other things like that. The people that are in that religion are supposed to be kinder and not so violent. And like I know I know people that are hard believers in religion would say otherwise, but I am not a very faith-based person. I am a more of a factual-based person, and I've I've been that way for some time. So I quite literally cannot believe in religion because it doesn't make sense to me. And I just have been I've been getting like ridiculed for it my whole life. And when I used to be a Christian, I wasn't Christian enough, and then now that I'm agnostic, I'm not Christian at all, and that's bad too. So it's just a downward struggle all the way around.
Right, and I can understand like where you're coming from, like not wanting to believe because of that, right? Um, I think
Yeah,
it's we're all on our own journeys, right? And whatever works for you at that point in time, right? Um, I think that's the most important thing you can come down to when it comes to any of these viewpoints, because like you can always have people telling you what's right and wrong, and perhaps maybe they're right sometimes, but we can take that into consideration and understand what that means for us, right? And I think you're on the right track. Being agnostic is the first step, I think. Um, and for me personally, it's more of a framework or a mindset or a way to psychologically unlock my brain to think differently, as if I'm talking to God or the goddesses above or whatever it might be, right? Um, I,
yeah,
I have I have unique experiences that tell me that there's more to the body, mind, and soul than I think we collectively understand. Um, and I can get into it if you're willing to hear it. But there's much more out
yeah.
there where I think, um, yeah, it's so. I'll tell you this story. So I'm bipolar,
All right.
which that's one thing, right? And I've been in manic episodes, and each time I've been in a manic episode, it's been almost obvious there's a god, but I understand they're just delusions, right? Um, but like it's
Yeah,
interesting when we abstract an idea, we can like reach a destination with that, right? Which I think is important for an individual, but also for a collective. Like if we can tell a universal story that resonates with everyone, I think that could be good in ways I can get to into later. But the story starts where I go into a yard house, which is a restaurant here where I live, and I've been fasting for quite some time, and I order bread and water. And the story starts here. There's a guy behind me that is saying a bunch of fuckity fucks, and I turn around and I see like three younger girls. Like one has to be like five or so, and someone's mother and someone else's mother. And I just turn around and nibble my bread and just go about my business. And he just keeps like negatively just saying fucks out loud, like really loud. And so I turn around and I'm nibbling my bread. I turn around and I say, "Zip it!" like I zip it, like just really aggressively look at him.
yeah.
And instantly he gets shocked, right? And he gets maybe embarrassed, but then he gets angry. And I turn around and I nibble my bread, and I kid you not, I feel spice on the tip of my tongue, and I turn around, and this guy's just devouring his Nashville chicken sandwich, which is the spicy chicken sandwich. And what does that mean? I don't know the answer to this. I can conclude or try to be like, well, something in me was activated, and something in him was activated, and we both deeply resonated in a way that put our taste buds into a unison, or I don't even know what bullshit answer I can give for that, but
Yeah.
something happened, and I pose this out here in a way to think about a thought experiment like this. So perhaps the power of belief, I think, is a very important thing, right? I think believing is it's a powerful but dangerous thing, and perhaps I'm not saying this is true, guys. For anyone that's a Christian, I'm not trying to offend you, but perhaps Mary understood the power of belief and saw that the world can be a better place. So perhaps she lied, perhaps, about having the Son of God. She miraculously had a son, but convinced a collective of people to believe that that one thing was divine. Like, what does that do to a kid, to a teenager, to an adult that believes they're like the greatest thing possible? Like, what's that do to a
Yeah.
person? And it's more of a thought experiment. But then I think about this in a way, like, geez, us, geez, us. In a way, we're just like, we're supposed to walk in the ways of this man, right? But what if we're able to do that progressive together? Like, we share these ideas out here. We be like, hey, now if you want to be my agent, you can be my agent, and you can test these ideas out on your own and see if we can scientifically understand this together. Um, and it becomes a performance theater play where like every second of reality is a show, and we can get into different ideas with these thoughts. It kind of unlocks different ways of thinking in a sense. Um, so yeah, that's what I think about some things.
Yeah, that's like I I like your takes on a lot of things. It's like you have more of an open mind, and that's a lot. It makes your takes uh, more relatable for me at least. And but I think it's just I think it's just like the 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 connections that people make whether consciously or unconsciously um, are kind of like they're special even if they're not personal. And I'm rambling off on a side comment, but I just started thinking about how one of my best friends, me and him used to hate each other, but we never knew each other. And the first time I ever talked to him, it wasn't very pleasant, like we were arguing, but we were arguing over something stupid, and we had the same goal in mind. And like now that I'm way older and I'm having to think about all the connections that I've made over time with different people, and they are all have different personalities, I've realized that the people that I choose to stay with and stay friends with are almost exactly like me and think like me, which which was not the thing that I wanted to do. But I think now that I've realized it, I can start to broaden the people that I speak to, because I spent a long time trying to be around people like me and that thought like me, acted like me, and so forth. But it's just not everybody's going to be like you, and everybody deserves to have the same amount of kindness that you give your friend. And that's like kind of like a thing with uh, where like over where I live, they consider it to be respect, but I think it's just human decency. But you treat everybody the same first time you meet them, and how they react later on will shape your image of them.
Right,
And
right.
like like the connections between people are shaped over time. And most of the friends that I broke off with them because they wanted to get really close really fast, and I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's one thing that you can articulate that and be like you understand like what could be different potentially if you wanted that, right? I think this is what's important about people in general is like I think we're all in our own ways unique and beautiful in our own ways. I truly mean that, and I believe that like diversity is super critical in a flourishing society. Having different thoughts, having different beliefs, I think are important. It's how we navigate that together. I think it becomes another question. Like I said, I think if we keep curiosity, open mindedness, and understanding rooted into our foundation, we can literally progress. And I don't see any any bad thing about that. I tend to not surround myself with people who are closed minded. I also engage with them
Yeah,
and talk with them and be curious, right? But typically, if I just want to hang out with like a good friend, like all my good friends, yeah, yeah, open minded, and they are great in their own ways, and I'm very lucky to have great people in my life. But if they're closed-minded, it tends to be like more of a turnoff for me. But perhaps it's so good to talk with them, right? Because why not, right? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out a person in my life who's close-minded. My dad, but we don't really get into deep conversations a lot. Um, he just isn't the type to really talk about stuff deeply sometimes. But I'll invite it in sometimes, and it'll be good. But typically, it's just about or the weather or work, and yeah, that's pretty much what it is. I invited my mom back into my life recently, and she's more on the curiosity side and open with different ideas to an extent. Um, but um, I'm trying to think about people who are close-minded in my life that I have a connection with. But I get people on here sometimes that are close-minded, but I do lean with, like I said, lean in with curiosity to try to understand their perspective better, because I think we ought to just treat humans like humans, right?
Yeah, like you have to be able to put yourself in their shoes, in their position, and that's something that a lot of people can't do. They can't change their point of view because their point of view is so fixed on them. And like my mom and my brother are both pretty closed-minded, and they have this idea that everything has to be a certain way, and if it's not that way, then it's wrong. And it it's just like the mindset of that is negative towards other people that are open-minded, because like I'm open-minded and I have two sisters that are pretty open-minded, and they try to be open with everybody, be friendly with everybody, and
Mm-hmm.
understand other people. And when you try and speak to my brother, he considers anybody else's opinion to be wrong, and that's just a it's just it's I would say it's ignorance, but he is aware of the fact that the way he's acting is not very good, and he continues to do it. So I wouldn't say it's ignorance. I would say it's more of lack of care. He doesn't care how people view him.
Yeah, it's just like it probably goes back to what I said, like being people just wanting to be right. Like they hold on to that so dearly, and it I think could be a trap for different ideas and beliefs, right? Um, I would say someone that I look up to that treated humans like humans is Daryl Davis. He's a black Christian. He plays the piano very well, but he deconverted Ku Klux Klan members, and when they deconverted,
I've seen that.
they gave him their robes, and that's like an amazing, like that's like testament to like how we can just interact with people from from extremes, right? If we just sit down with them, like and interact with them in such a way where it's like no, they're not aligned. It's like, hey buddy, hi,
Yeah.
and just going from there and be like, okay, so we go here and we go here and we progress and we get somewhere with it, right? I think with different types of people, it's important to understand how people think, and we can kind of navigate kind of like a dance in a way, like how to align with this person, or how do we open up this person, or how do we go about different topics with this person, and I think the more I think it comes with curiosity, like just being genuinely curious about who the person is as an individual, and going from there. And I think the more vulnerable and open we are with our thoughts and ideas, and having these dialogues like this is critical. Like you're helping me become a better Brady just by being on here and sharing your thoughts vulnerably, to the point where like I'm articulating this idea in such a way again, but it's helping me like crystallize it. That's not a right way to say it, Brady. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's helping, and there's like a ripple effect, because you're what you're doing is going to impact how I operate tomorrow on other people, and in people I talk to in the future on TikTok. Like there's a ripple effect, and I think I believe it's exponential to where like it just keeps growing and growing and growing, and who knows where that's gonna lead to, right?
Yeah, there's like infinite possibilities of where of the growth that could happen between people if people would share like and like everything with experiences and culture and thing. You have to share things with other people to grow as a species, and I feel like that's one of the main problems that a lot of people nowadays have is they want to have everything. They want to have everything to themselves, and it's all about them. And it's it's not the purpose of that's not the purpose of being social creatures, because humans are innately social, and we are meant to be amongst each other. And we have so many different cultures, so many different ways of life, and wanting to keep them all to ourselves is like it keeps everyone locked away potentially from the joys of your culture. And like I feel like now it's just everybody wants to be on top, and it's all petty, and nobody actually cares about what is important, and it's all just petty stuff.
I think those are the loud people, but then we also see how society is, and we can conclude with
Yeah.
patterns how things are. But I think the most common person typically is not contributing to that. Maybe they're like silently doing it, but I don't know how to get into that too much. But I believe like when it comes to people being like selfish, maybe in their own ways, or maybe not, or whatever it might be, I believe fear is the root cause of all unnecessary suffering. And if the individual can eradicate fear from the mind, they can lead more fulfilling and productive lives. This doesn't mean we can't feel fear. Like feeling emotions is a good thing, right? But like we shouldn't let it dictate how we think. And I think the individual has their own ways of going about this, and from their own journeys about who they were, and in their environment they grew up in, their biology, how they're like in biology, how they are as adults right now. But each individual has like that journey to experience on their own. But we shouldn't let like fear dictate how we think. And I think sometimes people are just fearful, and it's understandable, but we should cut that shit out.
Yeah, I feel like people try to people try to keep things to something they're familiar with because they are afraid of change.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people are afraid of the unknown. They don't want to change because changing means growth, and growth means struggle. And I have a feeling a lot of people that are like that just they just are they're stuck because you can't improve yourself, and there's so many people that are like that that it's just become seen as normal. And I think that's just it, it's not just like bad like labeling of that. It's just people are giving it a reason. People are giving people a reason to not change, and everything's so normalized now, and it's just staying the same is easy, and people have normalized doing what's easy over what is better for you.
Right. It's like comes down to control in a sense. Like if you lose that grip of control, like whereas like some people just are like it's just what do you do without that, right? If you don't have that sense of like safety, it's understandable. I understand where people come from in different ways, but it just comes out in unoriginal ways. And my not to throw my family under the bus, but I will. They're a bunch of control freaks in their own unique way. Um, my sister is complicated, and I impacted her in a negative way, being in mania. But I've seen it being in mania, where if people like the people that reacted to me in the best way, were curious about where my thoughts were going, even though like I was just rambling and saying a bunch of bullshit sometimes, and it was chaotic. It was probably confusing at times. I understand that, but the people that reacted negatively, I would react back. And this isn't obviously I shouldn't react back in this situation, but in mania, I feel like I'm the teacher. But what I should do is have mercy and understand why they're reacting in the first place. But anyways, so a story goes like this, where I post on Facebook, and um, and it's just a silly post, and talking about the devil, and I don't know if what the post is all about, but I said something on Facebook in a manic rant, and I'm living with my sister and brother-in-law at the moment, and my sister comes up to my room, and this isn't my first manic episode, this is my second, and she comes up with like worry on her face, and she's like, she's like, Brady, I thought you weren't gonna post on Facebook like that anymore. And from there, I saw the look on her face. I saw the judgment, and I heard the judgment in her words. And I thought that worrying was a sin, and that the devil was in control of her. Well, obviously a delusion, right? And so I back up. I'm like, be not afraid, be not afraid. And I do the sign of the cross and just silly stuff, right? And that doesn't help, to the point where I ended up getting experimental. I put my middle finger right on her forehead, and I command the devil to get out of her. Traumatizing, not a good thing. But like when I tell other people this story, they start laughing, like, because like people that know me, like, just it's just a joke. It's silly, but it's traumatizing for my sister, right? And I end up grabbing her arm really hard, and it bruises her arm. And my brother-in-law puts me into a belly, like an arm lock, and I'm not trying to harm anyone, or I'm just like finding this to be a silly absurdity of life, about what reality is. And I don't say this to blame my sister. Like, the accountability is on me to being in that state of mind anyways, which is a different reason, but reacting back to it in a negative way. And I would say people who can learn from this story and how to deal with people in these mental states, instead of being judgmental, my sister could have said, Brady, what does your post mean on Facebook? Like, help me understand. Like, talk it through. Like, say anything that's curiosity based. I'll ramble the shit out of it, but like, it's not gonna lead to a negative thought for me to think. Still, me being accountable to my actions, but I understand how fear in this moment, with my sister feeling fear, like, led to me reacting in a negative way too. And I think we shouldn't just operate this way with people in these mental states. Like, this goes for every single person we ever interact with. That we can, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it does, and I think it's all about, like, people react very quickly to situations, and they don't put a lot of thought into what they're doing, and they think less about how their actions are going to affect others and more about the situation that they're in. And especially when you're dealing with other humans that are going through different things in their life, and experiencing things that you aren't, I think it's a lot better to have an open mind. And, like, because if you don't have an open mind, you won't be able to fully understand how that other person is feeling. And in a lot of situations, to calm someone down, you have to put yourself in their shoes and find out what would calm them down.
Right.
And it's all just split-second thinking, and everything's just too fast. And I think something that could help a lot of people now is just slowing down.
Mm-hmm.
In their day-to-day life, just slowing down. People get caught up in the rhythm of going really fast and getting things done, and this and that and this and that, and then they take that home to their families, and that's not the kind of environment to act like that. And it's like my dad, because my dad passed away in 2022, sorry. And yeah, thank you. But before he passed away, he was getting very bad memory, and he was in the Navy, and he the way he was raised was like, he was raised on the very old idea that boys don't cry, and all the stuff that comes around that kind of idea. And so I had never seen him cry at all. And one Christmas, my mom had made him a cup. It was just a mug with an American flag on it and like his name burned into the side of it. And he had said that it had reminded him of the war. Um, because he wasn't in like in a big war, but he had been in a few fights, and he was missing the people that had passed. And
Mm-hmm.
when he was in that state, my siblings they just like they immediately rushed to him to give him a hug and calm him down, they but he was so upset, and he was like he had his head in his hands, and when they ran up to him to give him a hug, he like freaked out and like pushed them away, and then my mom reacted, and I reacted, and it's just that's just an example of like how things can escalate when you don't think, and
Right.
like not not thinking things through is how a lot of negative situations arise, and it could be that, it could be ignorance, it could be miscommunication, but it's most of the time has a reason, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things could be avoided, and people don't understand that, and they kind of think that if something happens it's meant to happen, and it's just all it's also like for me it's kind of disappointing because we have um I'm reading this comment, and thank you, and thank you, Uncut Hebrew.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Good to
but
see you in Cut
yeah,
Hebrew.
it's just like
Yeah. I
yeah.
go ahead.
Oh no, it's all right. I kind of was reading the comment and forgot what I was talking about.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you being open about that story. I think, we can always look back on situations and be like, what could have we done differently? But like how things operated and how they were is one thing. And now we know how to, if we get to the situation again, deal with it in the future. But I think it just goes to show like, just explaining these things out loud, like from both of our stories, there's two people watching or and whatever it is. And we could educate people about this, right? And from our experiences and there's a common theme that people can come down to on their own to understand what it means to interact with other people in general. And I think I think it's important to just to share stories like this, right? Um, like no like no disrespect to my family, even though I'm very open about stuff that's happened in my life with them, right? I think we can put this out there as a thing and learn together, like not only just mental health, but just people in general. How do we get to know people in a better way so we can be there for them in ways that are productive for everyone. And that's not always going to be the case, right? I mean, maybe, but I think we can strive for trying to make it better for everyone if it's possible, right? And we do this together, and like I was talking to another guy, or maybe you, like we start small, right? But then we grow and we grow, and the more these ideas get out there, like the more I'm sure, like with mental health, like for one, there's a stigma behind it, right? But the more we talk about that, the more people are educated, the more we are able to handle people in these situations, right? And I think we are getting to that point where we're educating people, and I'm optimistic for the future to see where that takes us, right? But
And
I think it's important to be vulnerable with who we are and our stories, and to be courageous with that, and to learn from each other and progress. So
yeah, and I think it's like I think it's really good that that me and you are sharing, because it wouldn't matter if there were no people watching, but me and you would be growing as people because we're sharing our own experiences. And I know. there's this big stigma around nuclear energy being really bad, but people don't understand that. They always say not Hiroshima. They always say like this big nuclear meltdown, and it it's like heavy influence from like the media at the time. They because they didn't give all the information, and um, the people that were alive spread the things that they knew, which was, hey, this nuclear energy is bad and it melted down and whatever. But um, it's a it's just it's just heating water,
Hmm.
and like a lot of people just don't they don't have an open mind about it at all, and they continue to be ignorant about a lot of things to do with it. And I feel like that could heavily help us in the future if we bring back nuclear energy, because it's not like it's killing the environment while it's in progress. Yes, the if it has a meltdown, that could affect the wildlife, but the people don't understand that the events of the meltdown were it was all just miscommunication because of the lack of technology at the time.
Hmm.
And like I wish that us as a species we could progress with each other instead of being in fear of everything, because something that I've been told by my friends is, if you're scared of if you're scared of everything, it helps you none to grow. If you're scared of spiders and you don't conquer that fear, you'll be scared of spiders forever. And it's like it it's in it. Here's an analogy. As spiders, or actually, let's use goose. If geese laid golden eggs, and you were afraid of geese, and your friend's like, oh yeah, yeah, they lay golden eggs, and you continue to be in fear of geese, never go near them, everybody else who isn't afraid of them would be the ones with the golden eggs. And because you're not conquering your fear, now you're the one who's getting negatively affected. And that's kind of how I feel about a lot of different situations, is because they can this the technology or the advancements that people have could advance us much faster, but people are too afraid to push forward with it. And I feel like a lot of people don't know that, and the ones that do know that are too afraid to speak out.
Like with technology in general, like creating new technologies.
Yeah, I feel like if we were to use more nuclear energy, we would be able to make it would be more sustainable than like wind energy, because wind energy is actually um, not very sustainable, because when the oil runs out, the wind turbines stop spinning,
Oh, I see.
because they have to be heavily lubricated to keep them spinning and making more energy. And uh, if we don't start using nuclear energy and we just never use it again, we'll run out of oil and grease to grease the turbines, and then we'll just run out of electricity,
Right.
other than by like streams. And people just live in the now. A lot of people live in the now. They don't think about how their opinions can affect their society, because they think of themselves so small. But
Hmm.
you could go to a convention or something with the idea that nuclear energy is good, and convince many people that it is.
Hmm.
But it's just everybody's too afraid. Everybody just doesn't want to hurt each other's feelings, and it's all going to be the same. And yeah, if you're kind to people, that's all right. But if you are if you are kind to people to make them feel better, that's kind of like, in my opinion, if you're only nice to people to make them feel better, that's not a good way of being nice to people. If they need to be, like, if somebody is being rude, you shouldn't be very nice to them. You should be like, you're being rude. Stop that.
Right.
And a lot of people now are just they don't want to offend nobody. And I used to say all the time when I was younger, I was like, oh, I won't grow up to be like any of those people because when I was younger, people in my family used to be like, oh no, those people suck. Like the people that were talking out with their own opinions and were going against what everyone else thought. They're like, oh, those guys suck.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys suck. They don't follow the rules.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, I'll never turn into one of those people. But over time, I've realized that back then it was just immaturity. They didn't want to change, and they were pushing that onto me. That oh yeah, you don't need to change either. But change is a good thing. It shouldn't be seen as a bad thing. It may be
Right.
scary. Huh? Oh, you
No,
said right. I thought you said
I just right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
yeah. But like yeah, change is a good thing, and it can be scary and it can be difficult. But a lot of the time, change is for the better, and if you do change for the better enough times, it's better off for not just you but for everybody around you. And I feel like a lot more people could be happier than they are now if they were just open and they were honest and they were able to change.
Right. Just like with the nature, we see it in nature. There's change constantly, always happening. So it's something that occurs. That's natural. That's natural. But as Mr. George Harrison likes to say, all things must pass. And I think that's like being acceptance to just different states in your life to come about, and just be content with that in that peace. And I think there's a lot to understanding that for each and every person, right? Um, but I really gotta pee. But I'll let you I'll let you put a closing statement out. It's been really nice talking to you. And I'll say that again after if you want to say something.
No, I want to say thank you for talking to me this long. It has been very hard to find someone that is genuinely just here to conversate and grow as a person. And I think that's very mature of you because a lot of people on this app are not very mature. And I will be coming to other streams to talk with you
Appreciate you,
because
man.
I like talking to you. You're a nice man, and
Yeah,
yeah. If anyone else is watching, they should follow too because they could have a chance to discuss anything with you.
definitely. Yeah, that's one thing I see on TikTok is like debates and just like arguments, which I think can be an okay thing for like educational purposes or maybe it's entertaining. But like I think the bigger work gets done if we just like have an open ended like dialogue about literally anything, and the guests can take that wherever they need to. And it's been a beautiful thing ever since I started doing it. So I appreciate you just being a part of that, and being open with your mind, and sharing your thoughts and ideas. It's definitely each and every person has contributed into me being who I am today, and for you being up here and enlightening me about different things with like nuclear energy, for instance, or just talk about your own ideas and your stories in your life. Like it's a fantastic thing. And so I appreciate you for coming up and being here. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. You have a blessed night, and you better go take that pee.
Yeah, I need a pee so bad. Okay, man. You take care.
You too, man.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
people. Bye. Bye bye. I'm gonna go pee now. Bye bye.